Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Dream is Free podcast. We have a very special guest, Mitch Hallock, the owner and founder of Terrificon.
But it reminds you who you were, I think, more importantly. And so they put me on the phone with John Romita Sr., who was my idol. Growing up, I wanted to draw like John Romita. But I run out onto the red carpet, and I hear somebody scream, "There's Jay Leno." And I turn, and Harrison Ford's taller than me. And literally, my face slams right into his shoulder. That was the end of it. I really thought there was no more conventions after 2020 because no one knew what was going to happen.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Dream is Free podcast. We have a very special guest whom we met last year at his convention, Mitch Hallock, at the owner and founder of Terrificon. Mitch, how you doing? Fresh out of Italy.
I am. I'm fine. I'm a Fresca, yeah.
What is Fresca? I don't even know what it is.
It's an Italian 7-Up.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that explains everything.
Yeah.
So usually this show, we kind of get started with your early years, young Mitch,
right?
Your inner child, Mitch.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but when you were a kid,
Yeah.
you bought a Marvel team-up comic.
Lots of them.
Featuring Spider-Man and Werewolf by Night.
Yes.
With your own money.
Yes.
How did
20 cents that was.
How did that, those early years shape, your lifelong passion for comics?
You know what's so sad? I could tell you exactly where I bought that book, what was going on, what the weather was like. My friend who was in the car with me at the time, my mom was driving the car. That's how crazy it is, because I heard Spider-Man met the werewolf. Now, I'm thinking it's the werewolf from the Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, that werewolf, but I didn't know Marvel had their own werewolf, because you're like,
You're not thinking that.
You're 6 years old. Everybody's the same. So I ran into the store, and there it was on the spinner rack for 2 dimes, 20 cents, and I got it, and I go, oh, who's this guy? Jack Russell. Isn't that the name of a dog? And he's a werewolf? Who would have suspected that was coming, So, yeah, no, and because of that, I still have that book. That's the other OCD thing. My dad, who was in the service, he had a bunch of comic books during the 40s because his dad would bring them home to him. But my grandmother, God rest her soul, she threw out all my dad's books when he was in the service, and he came home and found nothing. There was nothing there. Whoa. And he's like, "Where's all my comic books?" And she, "Oh, the cat had kittens on those. You don't want to touch that after that." And I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? So the cat had kittens on it. So it was kind of weird. So when I was a young son, a child, obviously my father, I was his son, he said, "Here, I'm going to buy you some of these funny books. Don't let anybody throw them out on you."
Mm-hmm.
So, being a good kid, listening to my parents, unlike a lot of the kids nowadays, I did what he told me to, and I never got off course. And I still have thousands of comic books, to my wife's disgust. They're all over the basement, and they're probably worth something, but
they're more
they're
valuable
worth more
to
to me. Yeah, because that's the whole thing too. When I talk about the Terrificon and the shows and the actors, everybody comes in, because there's a moment when you pick up something. If I pick up that book, like you just mentioned to me, I remember being in the car in New Haven and, coming home from school and had my little St. Brendan's school outfit, my white shirt, my navy tie, my gray pants, black shoes, because we had to wear a Catholic school outfit.
Mm-hmm.
And the car my mom had, and my mom in the front seat, my friend David Proto, who I still talk to. It's like I could literally close my eyes, and it was 52 years ago, which is like more than half a century, so that's insane. But it's not just remembering where you were and what people look like and the clothes they had on in the 70s and stuff like that. But the best thing I've ever heard it described is it's you remember who you were back then. Not so much what was going on around you, but that little kid who's still in there somehow. I ate him. He just, but you just remember who you were, and I could do that in grammar school, high school, college, depending on what book it is. Who I was at that time, what dreams I had, what I wanted to do with my life, where I wanted to go, what was going to be there. And it's just a piece of paper. It's just like you got these videos and stuff. I could pick up some of these things. I remember when my kid bought that game. I remember when I bought that movie. I remember when I saw that movie. And you just get that little snapshot. It's like looking at a picture album or a photo album, and you go, yeah, that's who I was back then. And it's one of those brain cells that's still floating around there. And it's like a little nostalgia high. You know, it kicks you.
Yep.
But it reminds you who you were, I think, more importantly. And, you know, and all the things that life throws at you. And you might become cynical and jaded and older and not care about things. But when you were 5 or 6, you cared about that. That was important to you. So that was important to you, and 6 years old, and somehow deep inside of you, there's like that little piece that's a little like, yeah, that was the greatest day of our lives.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and that's what it. And when I see these actors, like, you know, Lou Ferrigno, you mentioned him, and I remember going with my dad to the Radio Shack to buy the antenna to put it on the black and white TV we had. We didn't know if the Hulk was gray, green, purple, green, orange. We couldn't tell. We had black and white. So we got the thing in the rabbit ears. My dad's turning the little knob so you can get a sharper picture. And I remember him telling the guy, because it was Friday afternoon after school, and I was starting to get nervous because the Hulk was coming on at 8 o'clock. And my dad had to wait for him to get home from work. It's like 5 o'clock. I'm like, we got like 3 hours. We got to get that TV picture as sharp and as clear as we can. We got to get the black and white to look as gray as it can be. And my dad telling the guy at the Boston Post Road orange Radio Shack that used to be near the Sears. There's no more Radio Shack. My dad's not here anymore. But I remember that night and him telling the guy, he goes, well, we got to go home. My son's got to see the Hulk. And the guy's like, the what? And I was like, you don't know if the Hulk coming on, you know, because you got all these pictures in your head what the Hulk comic book's going to be. And you're like, how are they going to do this on TV? They didn't.
Yeah, not
at all. But I didn't know. But
it was the best they could do.
I remember the excitement, though. But that's the thing, though. I remember that moment with my dad and just like going home and watching him put the TV together just so we could watch the Hulk together that night, you know?
Yeah.
So it was fun.
I could totally relate. My guy was the Green Power Ranger. So when we got to meet Jason David Frank, they know, like, I cried at the end of it.
Oh, yeah. I believe it. Yeah.
Because like you said, that inner child of you is like, gets to fulfill that dream of wanting to meet him.
You can't believe it's you. If you had told me when I was, it was like 1977, I was like 10 or 11 or whatever the hell it was, maybe younger. That kid in West Haven, not a great neighborhood, he never would envision that he'd meet a Hollywood movie actor. Because, I mean, when you're a kid, Lou Ferrigno's up there with Laurence Olivier. You know what I mean? You don't know that, oh, well, he's not Shakespearean trained. It's like, dude, he's the Hulk. I don't see Laurence Olivier wrestling a bear.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But the Hulk did.
Yep.
So that, you know, and now that I got them on my phone, it's just like, this is bizarre, surreal that I could literally hit a button and talk to the guy that was beating up maybe it really wasn't a bear. Maybe it was a dude in a suit. But when you're a kid, it was a real bear.
That version of Lou Ferrigno might have been able to.
This
version, I don't think.
Well, we're not. What kind of bear are we talking about here?
Well, Tony thinks Tony thinks he could beat up a black bear, and if it was like an aggressive.
Well, they say, like, if you are ever, like, in the woods or whatever and you encounter a black bear, that is a bear you can scare off.
No, but I'm saying, what if it wasn't scared and it's like, oh, dude, I want this.
What, the bear?
Yeah.
Well, then the bear's thinking I could take a human.
Yeah.
They might get together with each other and say, yeah,
you know what?
I could take a dude with a mustache. You know, you always got to look at the other way around. It's not you versus the bear. It's the bear versus you. Bear's sizing him up. Is like, I could take Tony.
Like, who is this guy?
Who's this guy? Come on, really?
Thinks he has blue eyes. He's gonna scare me.
Exactly.
So you're from Connecticut. West Haven, born and raised?
Yeah, New Haven, born and raised in Connecticut. West Haven, Connecticut.
Okay, cool. Where'd you go to high school and college?
Notre Dame High School.
Right over here?
No, that's the more Richie one. I went to the one in West Haven, which was no girls, all boys, Catholic school. In fact, one of my they were the Brothers of the Holy Cross. That was the people that ran the school. He just died the other day. He was 103 years old, and I'm like, wow. I thought he was 103 when I knew him, but I was like, God rest Brother Benjamin. But no, then I went to Southern Connecticut State University.
Cool. Right
down the street. I did go to Pear Art College for about a week. A week, because I wanted to be a comic book artist when I was a little kid. I said, I could do this. I could draw. So I always wanted to be an artist. So my dad was against it. He said, I don't want you going to an art college because God forbid, this is where the old Italian superstitions, God forbid you hurt your hand, you'll have nothing to fall back on. So you better get a good education. You better develop your mind. Forget this hand stuff, you know? So I went to Southern and I learned to draw, but then I got into marketing and I did theater and I did all the different stuff there because it's like, oh, you don't know what you're going to end up doing. When you're 18 or 19 years old, I know people 40
Mm-hmm.
I know people 60 still don't know what they want to do. They want to grow up to be an astronaut. I don't think it's going to happen, but So yeah, I did all that, and here we are. So yeah, long story short.
You appeared on Comic Book Men Dressed as Indiana Jones.
Right. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yep. And did you name your dog Harley Quinn?
My first dog was Indiana,
Okay.
named after Indiana Jones, and he passed away. And then our new dog, well, she's not new, she's 8 years old now. She's Harley Quinn Hallock, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so what's the most nerdy thing you've done in your early years to show your love for pop culture?
In my early years?
Yeah, well, yeah, because
My
you're a little
earliest good thing I didn't kill myself is they had Spider-Man web shooters.
Oh, cool.
And they were an ad in the back of the comic book. And all it was a dart gun with a piece of kite string on it and a rubber suction cup at the end.
Oh, nice.
And you did the Spidey,
Yeah.
and it would fire, if you activated the trigger, it would fire this plastic dart with the rubber suction cup about maybe 3 or 4 feet with the string.
Mm-hmm.
And that's your web shooter,
Yes,
you know?
yes.
And, I'm going to say that came out, and I looked at the buildings in New Haven. They're not the size of New York City, but I sat there and I said, geez, I wonder if a little chubby kid like me, if I get it just right, can swing from building to building. I would have fallen to my death in seconds, so it didn't happen. But that was probably the nerdiest thing. I did contemplate going down to New Haven onto the Knights of Columbus building, that big
yes,
thing,
yes,
and swinging from the tops of the roofs like Spider-Man with my plastic $1.97 web shooter.
Glad you didn't do that.
No, I would have made the papers though.
Oh, definitely, yeah, 100%.
Foolish fat kid falls to death. Yeah. Thinks he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Splat.
That's the headline.
Yeah, it would have been. Back
So
then,
you out of school,
yeah.
you took your marketing degree, right? And you worked at
No, I didn't get a marketing degree. I got a degree in design and art.
Okay.
But I had a minor in marketing.
Did you work at Gartner and Westbrook Technologies?
I worked at a company called, well, first I did art supplies. It was a company called Charette, which was in New Haven, and then there was a Koenig's Art Emporium. If it wasn't for those places, I think they're all out of business now, so I can safely say I stole so much art supplies. But that's what fueled my career. But no, after that, I got a job as an assistant art director out of college. I was 23 years old. And I did everything. I learned how to do photography. I learned how to do desktop publishing, which was new. That was like working on a computer, a Macintosh computer, Apple computer.
Yeah.
And that guy got fired. And the day I was handing my 2-week notice because I couldn't stand working with the guy anymore because he would be gone all day and I would do all the work. And I didn't know what was going on. And he got fired. And I just sat there quietly because I was like 23 years old. And I was like, is somebody else coming in? Because what's going on? And the owner finally comes up to me and he says, well, I see you've been doing everything for the last 10 months. I go, yeah. Well, if you could prove you could do it, I'll give you a raise. What do I pay you now? I said, $18,000, sir. He's all right, I'll give you 25. And if you do that, I'll give you up to 30. I was like, you got it. So I was so excited. I told him I could draw. I told him I could do all this stuff. He's like, okay, go do it. I had no idea how to do it. So I picked up the phone and I called 411, which was information back then. They didn't have the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And I called New York City and I called Marvel Comics. And I said, can I speak to somebody in the art department? And they said, why? I said, I told somebody I could make a comic book and all that. I don't know how to do it. So they put me on the phone with John Romita Sr., who was my idol. Growing up, I wanted him to draw like John Romita. And he took an hour out of his busy day. I always remember this. And he said, get a pad and paper, and I'm going to walk you through it. So he literally, step by step, told me how you draw it, how do you color it, how do you ink it, how you do all that stuff to make a comic book. And he said, good luck, son.
Wow.
And I did the first catalog that they had. It was just boring stuff like laminators and staplers and binding machines. It was an office products thing. But I made the whole book like a comic book. So when you got it in the mail, you're like, Sears catalog, shoes catalog. What is this comic book thing? Oh, sales went up from like a $2 million company to like a $5 million company to a $10 million company because I was doing all this new stuff that no one had really done for a boring catalog. It'd be like in your Staples catalog, Staples, all the office supplies. Imagine if it looked like something you gave a crap about.
Yeah.
Instead of like, page 2, paper cups, page
with like
3.
the price and just some photo of it.
So I went to town and the guy was like, "Hey, we're making money. Keep up I'll give you another $1,000. Thanks, sir."
Yeah.
So I just kept doing that and stuff. But after that job, I realized, yeah, I'm in Brantford, Connecticut. It's not the center of the universe. So I'm like, I gotta go to the big city. So I went and applied for Marvel. They offered me a job, but they paid less than what I was making. And I was like, wait a second, I'm making $40,000 a year here. How much are you offering? They're like 23. I'm like,
to live in the
to
city?
live in this city,
Yeah.
I got to pay New York City tax, New York State tax, Connecticut tax. I got to commute every day. What are you, crazy?
Mhm.
So I turned the job down, and I did regret it. I still kind of do, but it was like $40,000, 23.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Things all worked out in the end.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I met John Romita Sr. years ago, a couple years ago before he passed away. And I told him that story. And I said, I owe it all to you. He's like, did you get the job? I said, yeah, buddy. Everything worked out. He's like, well, good luck to you, kid. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
What a nice guy. There's not many people like that.
No, and
that
that, honestly, and we were just talking before we started this about, do I answer the phone and do I answer the emails? I go, yeah, stupidly, I put my real number out there. So when people contact the show, they're getting me.
Mm-hmm.
And I take it to the detriment of my family and my friends who hear me complain about this stuff all day long. I do answer the phone. I do answer the messages. I do eventually get back to everybody. And they're like, why are you doing this? I'm like, well, they're the customer. There's some obligation you have,
Yeah.
If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be doing this stuff. So,
Well, that's one thing I do like about you and what I noticed at your con when we went. Shout out Mike Reinwald, who got us to get there and meet you, and you as well for getting us the booth. But we've been to New York Comic Con. Obviously, it's huge. We've been to Rhode Island Comic Con, and your con is obviously big as well. But you're not going to see the founder of said con being like, that doesn't go there. That needs to go there. You're moving stuff.
Unloaded trucks.
Yeah, like
I lifted your pipe and drape, I think, didn't I?
Yes,
I
yes.
remember I had you over and like, this ain't going to work. And I'm literally like, guys, grab the table.
Yes,
And
yes.
I moved you over there and
Yep.
stuff. And that's the stuff that drives my wife nuts. She's like, where are you? I'm like, I'm over here moving the table 2 to this thing.
Well,
and and she's like, what do you give me? I'm like, yeah, but,
Well,
Anyway.
she seems like, from what we've seen, she's like right there with you.
Yes,
You guys seem to be a
yes.
great team,
Yes.
which is, you need that. I read a book.
Get out.
Yeah, I know. I know. I just learned how to
Were there
read.
pictures in it?
There were.
I'm working towards that.
It's the Midas touch, and they were saying the biggest decision you're gonna make in your life is your spouse, who your spouse is, and who your business partners are gonna be. Renee, you could have came in. The shot,
You
Renee.
could. You could put the box on the table if
Yeah,
you need
you
to,
could.
or whatever.
It's
you
not a
need.
big deal.
Yeah.
I don't have a dog walker, so unfortunately, I went out into the pollen-filled hills of Connecticut.
Yes,
And
death
I'm
trap.
like sitting there
Tony's
going,
been getting
why?
wrecked this year with
Yeah,
allergies.
and it's
Yeah.
what's so
It's
funny.
the Naples people that are getting wrecked.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
it's in our low blood supply. But the thing of it is, I used to get this earlier, like around May, and it would be gone by now. But now there's smoke coming down from Canada.
Yes,
I didn't do anything to Canada, so leave me alone.
I
But
know.
I'm going outside. I go, it smells like. Is everybody else having trouble breathing? They're like, yeah. And then I see this alert come on my phone, like it's unhealthy to be outside. I'm like, well, where am I supposed to go? Underground, like a mole? Yeah, the dog. We put an oxygen tent on the dog and everything. So anyway,
Yeah, so you did mention earlier, sort of by naming your dog
Yes.
Indy, that you're an Indiana Jones fan. I would
you
classify
can
as
call
like,
me fanatic.
yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
fanatic.
that's awesome.
Yeah. You've been a regular on the Indy cast since 2007.
Since it started, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
covering Indiana Jones. As a fan yourself, what's one Indiana Jones topic from your early days on the podcast that you've done or shows that you'd like to revisit and share with us?
Making myself look like a complete idiot in front of Harrison Ford.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tony's a huge
right?
Indiana Jones guy as
All
well.
right.
yeah.
Picture,
So-
if you will, April 22nd. It's Earth Day, 1999. My wife and I go to a fundraiser in New York City called the River Keeper. It was to clean up the Hudson River, and Harrison Ford was the guest speaker there that night. Deborah Harry was the musical guest, and
Cool.
they were going to present an award for contributions to nature preservation to the fellow that owned Patagonia.
Mhm.
I can't think of his name right now, but Harrison Ford was going to present the award. So I said, "Oh, geez, we're going to meet Harrison Ford, and you got to pay a big chunk of money, but it's tax deductible." So that's how I convinced my wife to go. And our son Spencer was going to be 1 year old coming up then. So it was like the first time we'd gone out in like a year. We were a young couple. And we just got a house. So we go to New York, and I'm like all excited because I'm going to meet, Han Solo, Rick Deckard, Indiana Jones. And I have an Indiana Jones postcard in my pocket just in case I see him. I want to get that. I got the Sharpie too. Just you got to be prepared. And we go and we pull up and we're late, and we're at the Chelsea Piers. And my wife goes, we're waiting for the valet. She goes, I'm getting out of the car. I said, why is that? She goes, he's right there. And his car was in front of ours. And he's getting out with his wife, who's married to a woman named Melissa Matheson, who wrote E.T., and they're walking out. My wife gets out of the car, and I can't go anywhere because I got to wait for the valet to come and take the ticket, the car keys.
Yeah.
So I'm just getting so ticked, and I'm sitting there. The guy shows up. I go, all right, guy, fuck. I'm just not going to swear. But I run out onto the red carpet, and I hear somebody scream, there's Jay Leno. And I turn around to look at where, and people are like pointing and taking pictures of me, and I'm looking all over.
Oh my God.
I'm looking all over for Jay Leno. Because look, I've never seen the resemblance, but I've been told again and again, oh, you look like Jay Leno. I don't go. So I go, I'm not Jay Leno, damn it. So I go up to the table.
Damn it.
There's my wife, and I go, why did you run out and leave me like that? I wanted to see Harrison Ford. She goes, he's right behind you. I'm like, what? And I turn, and Harrison Ford's taller than me. And I literally, my face slams right into his shoulder. He's doing all these interviews with like Entertainment Tonight and the E! Channel and all that stuff. And I go, what? Bam. Oh, Jesus. And there he is. He's like, huh? I'm like, hey. So now I realize it's a 2-shot, and they're filming him, and I'm in the shot. So I'm kind of like leaning in, waving. I'm like, what the hell? So,
what's Jay Leno doing?
Yeah, exactly. They're probably like, hey, look, Jay Leno's here. So we're walking away. My wife goes, hey, go get your autograph now. I said, all right. So I go up and I pull, can I bother you? Sure. And signs it. Why do you have an Indiana Jones postcard in your pocket? I said, well, just in case I meet Harrison Ford. He goes, that's weird, but sure. So he signs it. And later on that evening, we're outside, and it's a dark night, and we're having drinks on the patio or whatever. And he comes walking through the crowd. And my wife goes, oh, get a picture with him. You're never going to get another chance. I said, all right, sure. So hey, could you take the picture? I have that picture. It's a little out of focus. I will always take 2 pictures, kids, if you're listening. Whatever. We were excited.
Yeah.
As I turned to leave after I have my photo, this woman comes up to me and she grabs me and she goes, you. I go, what? She goes, take my picture. And she gives me what's called a 110 film camera. It's like a long bar. Looks like an ice cream sandwich type of thing. And you have to advance it by turning the little dial.
Right.
Like the little knob, like those little disposable cameras. Yeah. And I go, why me? So Harrison Ford's like, oh, could you hurry this up? Because he doesn't want to be there either. So we're taking the picture, and I go to do the the shutter. And I'm looking through the little square, and I don't see them. Usually through the viewfinder, you see what you're going to look at, And I don't know what's going on. I'm getting nervous, and Harrison Ford, you know where this is going. Harrison Ford's getting like, could you hurry this up? I said, all right. So I go, excuse me, ma'am, I don't think this camera's on. Oh no, it's all ready to go. I got the film. Just press the button. I go, are you sure? I don't see you. Just aim it and point. It's fine. Okay. And he's like, hurry this up, kid. So I go to hit the button. It's not where it's supposed to be. And I'm moving around, and it seems like time has slowed down. And I go, oh, it's over here. It's on the left side, not the right side. Well, that's weird. Why would it be on the opposite side? And for some reason, to this day, I don't know why my brain thought of this thought. Maybe it's a European camera. Maybe it's from England, and it's on the opposite side. What the hell does that mean? I don't know. So I go to squeeze and depress the shutter. As I'm doing it, I could see as I'm squinting, Harrison Ford looking closer. He goes, no, wait, what? And as I hit the button, I realized what happened. I had the camera backwards. So I was looking in the shutter. That's why it was dark, and the view, the button was on the wrong side because I had the camera backwards. It went off in my eye. I had a big flash. I'm like, oh my God, I can't see. He goes, you just took a picture of your eye. I go, oh, and you got that green blob in your face, you know? And I'm literally like, whoa, where am I? Where am I? My wife runs off. She's so dying of embarrassment. He goes, you just took a picture of your eye. The woman is furious. She's, I don't know if I have any more film left. Why did you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I can't see. So I give him the camera. He goes, I don't want it. He gives it back to me. I go, we're passing the camera back and forth like a Lauren Hardy picture. She grabs the camera, swearing me up and down. You stupid ass. So she gives it back to me, and Harrison Ford's like, okay, let's do this right this time. I'm still like blinking hard. And he goes, how many fingers do I have up? I said, don't be an ass. He's like, no, seriously. I go, 3. He goes, all right. I said, all right, Spielberg, let's get this right this time. All right. So he's there. She's there. He's like this. He's just still shaking his head like, what the hell? So I do the picture, and I go give the camera back. The woman goes, did you get us? And I go, oh, man, I got to save face in front of Harrison Ford. And I go, what do you mean us? He goes, what? I said, I took a picture of you. I didn't take a picture of him. I zoomed in on you. You son of a... And then she starts going on. He starts laughing, and I'm lying. I took you both. We're good. So I walk back. I found my wife in the corner of the room, just shaking her head like, what the hell is that? He comes towards us now. I said, oh, he's going to hit me. And a couple of minutes earlier, I had shaken his hand, and I was a little shocked that it was kind of like a little dead fish type of handshake. And I was like, what the hell is this? You're Han Solo. You can't give me a dead fish. And this time he puts his hand out again. I said, oh, okay. And I shook his hand. Now it was a little firmer. I said, what's that about? He goes, oh, look, I've had millions of pictures taken of me in my career. I said, he goes, but I'm going to remember this one. I said, oh, that's so cool. And the rest of the night, as I would walk up to get a drink or go to the bathroom, he would be at the table with all his friends. He'd see me walk by. He goes, and there's the guy right there. And they'd all point and laugh at me. And I'm like,
That's awesome.
Yeah. But that's my geekiest moment.
Yes.
And we went to the premiere of the Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny 2 years ago. We got flown out to Los Angeles, and there he was. And I know Short Round or Ki Kwan. And I was going to say, I should just get that moment one more time and say, look, for the last 25 years, I've lived this guilt of taking my eyeball picture in front of you. He probably wouldn't even remember it.
I feel like he would.
He might go, I thought I was high on something that day, but I don't remember that. Yeah, so like that's my one moment. If I have a chance, it's somehow this message in a bottle, this show you're doing, gets out to Harrison Ford.
It's the goal.
If he says, you know what, come on back, we'll do it again, and you can save face.
That would be awesome.
That'd be great.
I hope it
I
does
got Karen Allen coming
too.
this year. I'm gonna tell her about that. She might be like, "Oh, he'll hit you. He'll hit you."
What did you think of the new Indiana Jones movie?
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
No.
Did you like Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls?
I did because they filmed it in New Haven. I mean, after that, because I was there when they were filming that movie every day on set. I was there trying to be an extra. I was there trying to volunteer for production equipment because it was like, what? And I bumped into him again, but I didn't take a camera. Well, I did, but I'm walking down Chapel Street. I turn a corner, and I'm in a Jaws t-shirt and khaki shorts. It's almost to the time. It was like June 20th or so. And there he is, drinking a cup of coffee. And there's Steven Spielberg talking to him. And they're talking about the scene, and Shia LaBeouf's there. And I'm like, oh, my God. And I grab my camera, and I'm again with the camera. I take the pictures. I'm looking at them, not looking behind them. And when I got the pictures back, I realized there's a big, giant security guy about the size of Lou Ferrigno staring right at me, pointing as like, like
that's hilarious.
And they were on my side. And a second, hey, you got to delete those pictures. I'm like, what?
Wow. They
said, you're on a closed movie set. I said, I'm not on a movie set at all. I'm on
Chapel Street.
I grew up here. What are you talking about? You're on my street. Yeah. So they said, you got to delete those pictures. I said, oh, geez. So I made a big fuss about it. Channel 8 was there. And I said, yeah, this guy comes. He says he's from Paramount Security. They delete my pictures. What is this? This isn't Russia. You can't take people's personal property. I'm making a stand here. So it got on the news.
Oh
the next day, Frank Marshall, famous producer of Jurassic Park films, Indiana Jones, everything. We want to apologize to the fan yesterday who was accosted by our overzealous security people. We welcome you to come on down to the shoot in New Haven, take all the pictures you want, and we're very sorry about that. And I was like, that was me. I took the hit.
Did you go?
Yes, I went back every day, but I was like, hey, look, it's me.
That's awesome.
Right, but... yeah. So no, I didn't like the movie Long Story. Go back to that.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed it.
He liked it.
The Dial of Destiny?
I fell asleep.
Yeah.
Did you really? Thank you.
Yeah.
It opened up fine.
Wow. It did open up really good.
I like the World War II stuff.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, he's in a crappy apartment in New York with a cheesy job. I'm like, whoa, what happened to the nice house in Connecticut and the job over at Yale? What are we doing here?
Yes.
That's what bothered me. And he got divorced. I was like, well, what is he, a loser? What's happening here?
Yeah.
So that's why I was upset with the whole movie.
Well, I guess I could see that.
No, they did it to Luke Skywalker. They
Yes.
destroyed our
Yeah.
heroes. I
Yeah.
don't know what's the obsession with that. It's like Wolverine. Oh, he's a drunk limo driver now.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a bitter Jedi hermit now. I'm like, well, no. We didn't. You don't want to have your heroes grow up to be miserable men. You want them to be like, heroes.
Fulfilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
They did botch a lot of those.
If you saw the Power Rangers, if they did a movie with like the actors, if they could have gotten them all, and they were old bitter guys,
yeah,
and the suits didn't fit,
Yeah.
you'd be like, well, what the hell's this?
it's over. Yeah,
The
don't ruin
Teenage
that.
Turtles, it's like there's only 3 because one of them got cooked up in the soup.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
other ones that they don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah,
Can't-
that would not be okay.
No, because you don't like Superman. And they've done movies about Batman being old too. But again, I said it goes back to that story. And I know, it's not real. I know it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
But it was that inspiration that the good over evil, that like if you work hard, you could achieve whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
That's what inspires people.
Yes.
Not if you work hard, get what you want. By the way, they're gonna
At
pull
the
the,
end,
they're
yeah,
gonna
you're
pull the
gonna
rug
be a
out from
loser.
a year.
Yeah.
It's just like, why bother trying?
Right,
I
exactly.
can just give up now. It's like, Jesus, that's what they don't get. Well, we're trying to make a realistic story. I go, look, any guy who falls out of an airplane in a rubber raft and gets his heart ripped out, that's not realism. That's not a documentary. So don't sit there and justify it. Well, the reason why Luke Skywalker is so bitter is because he realizes the Force wasn't. I'm like, that's Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
He did that one shot in a million. I know is that because Han Solo told him is that. He blew up the Death Star.
Exactly.
Well, the Death Star's construction was a geopolitical belief about the economic divisions between the Emperor and this planet. I go, no, do not bring in our real world bull into
Yes.
a galaxy far, far away. I
Yes.
don't want to hear, well, the clone had the rights to do this. And I'm like, no, it's good guys and bad guys.
Yes.
It's just a fantasy story,
100%.
The big bad wolf in the Little Red Riding Hood, and he's doing this stuff. I don't want to hear that he had a troubled past,
Yes.
that his dad left him when he was little, and he was
Mhm.
just looking for someone to hold him and hug him, and that's why he disguised himself as the grandmother.
They do
It's
that
like,
so much with movies now.
you don't need realism.
Yeah.
Little kids know the difference between a dragon and a truck about to hit you down the street. One of
Yeah.
them's not going to happen. One could happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Give the audience the benefit of a doubt that they have some light on behind their eyes.
Yes.
And they grow up to realize, oh, the world does suck.
What movie did we just see like that, Tony?
Every movie
Where they were
like
glorifying the bad
Yes.
guy? Yeah, I was just saying that
right,
because we were
we
saying
just
that. It was
saw
like
that.
2 movies in a row, but it was remakes, wasn't it?
Well, everything's a remake now.
Yeah. yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
I'm
geez.
trying to remember.
Because he's telling this.
I know, it's
and
like
I'm
we had the
we
same
just watched this.
conversation.
Yeah.
I forget what movie it
Was
was.
it the Mission Impossible movie?
No,
No,
no.
'cause
no.
we
did just
was
watch
before
that.
I saw that one too, but for his credit, he didn't turn into a bitter old like,
No,
I'm not
he-
going to save the world. F the world.
Yeah, I feel bad for he's a little cooked out, but like I do feel bad
No.
that they're pushing him out of that franchise.
Well,
It's like,
he's 62. I got to give it. He's still going to work and still believes in the
ridiculous.
dream of the movies. What
Like,
they were.
he's
It's
doing
a
it.
2-hour escapist fantasy.
Exactly.
He's the only one left to do it. We don't
Yeah.
want to go see Ethan Hawke or Ethan Hunt. I have no wife and my friends
yeah.
are dying.
Yeah.
It's like no.
I want him
I
doing
want him
what he's
hanging
doing.
from an airplane, going
Yes.
in water when he should have died
Yeah,
within
yeah.
seconds from
Yes.
hypothermia.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
We're
exactly.
the movie watching. I go,
Oh, I do believe he'd be done in 30 seconds. I don't believe he can hang off the side of a plane and do
I go, what am I doing?
Yeah.
They're making me try to justify this stuff. It's
Yeah.
like, shut up,
Yeah.
put your eyes on, and just watch the spectacle. Don't
Exactly.
try to go, well, I don't think that could really happen that way.
Yeah. It's like we know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
we,
you?
We were saying that though after that movie. It's like obviously because he went in with high expectations, but
Yeah.
it's Mission Impossible. So it's like if you know you're gonna get that kind of film, you wouldn't be,
Yeah.
They're
feeling-
not calling it mission realistic.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay? You go in, it's in the title. It's got to be
Yeah.
something that's almost in the realm of impossibility.
Yes. And the only tough part was it like knowing it was the end. They kept mentioning Dead Reckoning. This is
Well,
Dead
I didn't
Reckoning.
realize. No, was it Final
It wasn't
Reckoning?
supposed. Yes, it's Final Yeah.
Final
But
Reckoning.
it was supposed to be Dead Reckoning Part 2.
That's
Yes.
what I thought
But
because
they
I go,
changed
when
it.
did they say it's
Yeah.
the final one? It's because it was supposed to come out a year ago.
Yeah.
And it did come, and then I thought he was supposed to go to space.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I don't
Like,
know what happened. The airplane didn't go high enough for that. I guess I was like, was he supposed to be up in the clouds?
yeah, I don't know. I would imagine that they cut a lot of stuff out when
And
they
when
changed
Haley
the
Atwell,
title.
when Haley Atwell comes to Terrificon on August 8th to the 10th, I'm going to ask her, why was she in the decompression chamber?
That's a good
Well, they're
point.
on the ice. He was the one
Yeah.
that was under the water and was going to get the bends. She was just hanging out. It's like
Yeah.
a James Bond movie where it's like, oh, Mr. Bond.
It felt
Yeah,
like
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
it
I
did,
felt
it
like.
did,
too.
it
Yeah,
did.
it's like,
It did.
right? It's like, oh.
Yeah, she's just like cuddling with him.
I'll have
Oh
to
my
warm
God.
you up.
Yeah, with the Eskimo, with the Inuit
Yes,
lady.
let me
Yeah,
get
yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Oh, right? I said the same thing. I'm like, all you needed was the British flag to pop out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The sled dog.
Try to think of the movie we watched that it was.
Well, I've seen
Bad
them
guys
all.
being glorified.
Yeah.
It wasn't the new
Kraven
Captain
the,
America.
Was it Kraven the Hunter?
No, it was around that time. It was Kraven the Hunter.
Okay.
That kind of is that, but yeah.
Well,
And then there was another movie before that we saw that was like, why are they making the bad guy a good guy? And it was a remake. It was either a sequel or a remake around that time.
the bad guy was the good guy?
Yeah, and what they were glorifying his actions. Like he did have like a troubled past, and it wasn't really his
It's not
fault.
like John Wick or anything, is it?
No.
No.
It was like a legitimate movie.
Oh,
Not to say
cool.
John Wick isn't legitimate, I guess. But,
It's an illegitimate movie there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it'll,
We'll
it'll
think
come to
about-
us.
yeah.
It'll come to us.
Did it make a lot of money, whatever the one you're talking
They
about?
always really.
I guess they
kinda-
kind of
they?
do.
Well, they don't. A lot of them don't. I guess meet their budget.
The
you
budgets
know?
are insane now.
Ridic-
It's like $400 million. Wait a minute. Why did the Joker 2 cost $200 million and the Joker 1 was $60 million?
Makes no
Was
sense.
it all Lady Gaga's?
Literally
Makeup,
budget. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, her makeup. Yeah.
And then I go, did anyone read the script? Just putting it out there, $200 million, and no one said, this sucks.
Yeah. Exactly.
This is really a crappy story here. We
No.
don't need this. Do you ignore stories if you don't like the sequels? Like it didn't happen?
If I don't like the sequels,
Like you like the first one and it's tainted by the second one. You're like, oh, that's what happens? I'm not going to even remember.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I'll
you disown it.
wipe
like,
that out of my
right.
memory. Yes. 100%.
Because it ruins it. Like if you found out Jaws, like it's the 50th anniversary of Jaws, and
Yeah.
you went back and said, well, the shark, it had an eating disorder. You know? It was on Ozempic and it got
Yeah.
a little too crazy and it just went. It was high as a kite.
Yeah.
It didn't even want to eat people. It was
No.
actually it was a vegetarian. No one knows that. There was a great white shark who was trying to a different lifestyle, and
then-
he just got in the wrong crowd. And
Yep.
he
Saw
was
the
peer-
girl.
It was peer pressure. The other sharks were saying, "Hey, if you're really one of us, you're gonna go eat that guy." He's like, "I don't want to eat people. I just want to be loved." He was just looking for a hug.
Yeah. No.
Well,
I would, not
imagine
like
being a
that.
vegetarian shark is probably really frowned upon in the shark community.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying. He
Yeah,
was an
yeah.
outcast.
A lot of
He-
internal backlash.
He thought he had to prove himself, and that's what he did. He got caught up in the wrong crowd, and look where it ended.
Yeah,
Don't-
exactly.
Don't do drugs, kids. He got blown up. He didn't want to.
We're trying to see.
I know. I think we were thinking about Craven and maybe
Yeah.
Venom or
Don't get me going on that thing. I don't
think
even
it
know what that
maybe
was.
Gladiator 2 too, because they were kind of
Gladiator
like
2
you kind of
was
like
another
rooting.
one.
You were kind of rooting for the twins a little bit, I guess.
Right? I thought those
Oh,
they
now
were
that you're
cool.
saying
They
rooting
were
for
trying to
the
kill the
twins.
Empire. Yeah.
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 We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Craven the Hunter, though. I don't know. Not Craven. Venom,
Venom.
3.
Yeah. they
Yeah.
kinda-
What the hell was that?
I
was sitting in
know.
the theater going, is there a story? Is something
Mhm.
happening here?
No, it was
no,
so.
it was just
bad.
the Last Dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, they even showed it. They had a dance sequence for
Yes.
For those
Yeah.
people too stupid in the audience, we're actually going to have him. And did he dance to the song "The Last Dance"?
Was that the song? I
think
forget.
so. Was it like Gloria Gaynor? Last Dance. Last
Oh, yeah, I
Chance
think so.
for
Yeah, you're right.
love.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid.
I know.
They do think we're dumb.
Mhm.
But
I
people,
don't know.
But people do pay for the money.
That's
pay
what I'm
for the
saying.
Pay
ticket.
for the
They made
ticket, yeah.
$2 billion. You're like, it did?
Yeah.
Mhm.
What do I know? I'm an idiot. then,
Right.
You know.
Well, that's just like the Fast series, you know.
I've never watched one of those.
Never?
But not one. I heard if you see one, you see them all, though.
I mean, I would say if you've
They kind of get crazy.
watch the first 3,
Yes.
and then you can stop.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're about to be at 10.
I
I
think
think they
we're at
passed
11.
10.
Fast
Yeah.
X was the most recent one we saw. I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
we have 'em.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
do you really?
And on
Yeah.
VHS, but it's like the first 3 are great, and then they turn into like superheroes.
Yeah.
By the end.
Well, that's The Rock and the other guy. That
Vin
Jason
Diesel.
Vin
Statham?
Diesel.
Oh,
yeah,
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 Vin Diesel,
They don't
yeah.
like each other.
No, they don't. They
no,
feud
right
on
now
set.
in real life they're feuding. Yes,
So,
And in the movie they feud.
and in the movie, but
What-
they become one.
Oh, really?
Not like one
family. Wow,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
just
it
No, they
is.
do.
It
They
is.
really do.
Finn
Family-
Rock.
yes.
It's like a big thing. there.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's
No.
dope. So
All right, I'll have to watch those. I'll put that on my list.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know you
Is
have
the
to.
list really long and you're never
I
gonna get
bet
to
you
it?
do have a long
Yeah,
list.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, because people go, Buffy the Buffy, the Vampire Slayer.
We have it on.
And
the car
I
seat.
said, I've never seen one episode. What are you kidding me? And I go, how many episodes? Well, it ran for 20 years. I'm like, well, how many is it? Like 200 something. I go, you just have to think about what you're about to partake in. You're like, 200 hours. I think I could become a doctor with that amount of time. You know what I mean? And I got to tell my wife, hey, you know what, honey? I'm not helping you with the gardening. I'm not helping you do anything.
Buffy's
paint the
on.
house. I'm going to devote 200 hours to watching this TV show that was on 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I just got into the special features.
Oh, yeah. I got added to the extras, too, with the interviews. It's like, oh, here's Seth Green talking about his motivation. Oh, they paid me a lot of money, and I showed up and stood there. Okay.
So we'll get back on track a little.
Oh, okay.
Not that
no,
I haven't
like
loved it.
this.
No, me
because
too.
I don't want to talk about me.
No, it is about you. So your buddies over at WPLR,
Chaz and AJ.
Chaz and AJ, they call
Classic
you
rock.
the P.T. Barnum, which you mentioned of pop culture.
And the king of the nerds.
Exactly.
Yes.
How did your lifelong love for comics lead you to create Terrificon in 2012?
2012, I started producing Comic Cons. Terrificon gets its origins in 2015.
Okay.
Because I had to change the name to Terrificon.
Right.
Let's see. I was offered an opportunity to help promote a local comic book convention because I come from a world of advertising and PR and marketing and graphic design and all that. So I was the PR person, and then I said, well, I know how to organize events because I've done it for people like Microsoft and these big software companies, and I've been in Vegas and Disney World and New York City. I gave away a red Mustang convertible, 1965. We had this huge convention called PC Expo. I don't even think they have that anymore, but it was $1 million booth, and I had to draw attention to it because if you ever, you go to New York Comic Con, you see all those massive booths out there. It's like, here's Nickelodeon and here's anime and Netflix. Everybody's trying to fight for attention. So my job was a marketing director at one point, and we were the same thing. We were trying to sell our software and our products, but you're screaming like on 42nd Street with all the other lights going on and all the other big signs and Coca-Cola and this and that. So I had to take my budget and promote as much as I could to get people there. Same thing when it comes to comic book show. And a lot of people, it's not like a secret sauce recipe thing, what I'm telling you here now. A lot of these shows either make it or break it, but it's all about how they sell it. And I don't think they get that. I was just talking to a guy before we got here. He went to a show. There was like 5 people showed up. Now, look, they're all selling the same stuff. Comic books, artwork, movie memorabilia, action figure, toys, stuff. They got some movie actors there. Why does one show become a hit and one convention go out of business the next year because no one went to it? You gotta let people know what's happening because believe it or not, people have lives and they don't sit there all day and go, geez, I wonder when the next fan convention's coming up that I can go to. So you got to tell them it's coming up. 2, you have to promote it as many ways as possible, and that's hard to do nowadays because hence we're doing this now. Years ago, I would just buy an ad in a newspaper and call it a day, or a radio ad like on Chaz and AJ.
Yep.
Or a TV ad. Now, there's no newspapers. I don't think they exist. Radio's very different. People listen to podcasts. They listen to Sirius digital radio, whatever the hell it's called. It's very hard to get somebody there. TV, people don't want to watch commercials. They'll pay extra money for Netflix and whatever so they don't have to watch commercials. So ad-free. Ad-free, so it's hard to do that too. YouTube's a great venue and a lot of the streaming stuff, Instagram, all that. So that's what I was good at, is getting people's attention. So when I went to produce it in 2012 at the Trumbull Marriott here in Trumbull, Connecticut, up the road, dude, everybody thought it was bigger than it was. I mean, I had people coming up from Jersey, New York, because they had heard about it. They had read about it. They saw a billboard on the highway, and I was on the radio, and I was doing as many interviews as I could. We had no movie stars. There was no TV actors or anybody. There was just artists, and people were like, what? It was a one-day show, and there was 3,500 people there. And the Marriott is only built for like 1,500 people because it's like a wedding reception hall and a prom night and stuff. Not for a comic convention. So they were like, "This is crazy. There's a lot of people here." So we'll do it again. Maybe it was a fluke. Bring in a movie actor, John Wesley Shipp, who played the Flash, the only guy I ever had.
Wow.
As a celebrity. Then I had Larry Kenney, who's a Thundercats. You guys know him as Lino. He lives in Connecticut. So that was it, though. It was Lino and John Wesley Shipp. 5,500 people show up. Now, if we were tight with 3,000 people, we're almost double that now. So now the fire marshal comes in, the police department show up. They're like, congratulations, you did a great job promoting this. There's people walking up and down Hawley Lane. You can't go to Target. You can't go. All the parking lots are full. People are dressed like Batman in the big wide grocery stores. It's crazy. But you can't come back here again. Okay. So the big problem was, now what do I do? Be so successful, but you can't come back. It's like, what is that? So we went to a bigger venue, Bridgeport, the hockey arena.
Yeah, what
Webster
was
Bank.
it called?
Harbor Yards.
Harbor Yards.
Used to be called that. I think it's called something else now.
Oh, it was called something else before Webster?
No, it was
Webster.
called
No,
it was called Harbor Yard.
it was Webster Bank
Webster
Arena.
Bank Arena.
Then it was Harbor Yards. Then we had the ballpark
Yeah.
next door. And now it's, I don't know. What
Total
it's called.
Mortgage.
Total
Total
Mortgage.
Mortgage.
Total
Yeah, they
Mortgage.
keep changing sponsors. So we filled that place up, and the owner of the place at the time thought I was crazy for renting that out for 3 days. He's like, no one's going to show up. You had 5,000 people. That's going to be nothing inside this facility. So we had like 15,000 people show up.
Wow.
And the line went down the street, and they were coming off the train. They were coming off the Port Jeff Ferry, because I would go in my car to Port Jefferson and then drive around Long Island for the whole day with a trunk full of flyers and postcards, and stop at every diner, every comic shop, every gas station, anywhere where there's somebody with a pulse. I would put a flyer up, because you didn't know who was going to see it and go, oh, I want to go meet this guy. I'm going to go to that show. And that's what I would do, and I still do. So that's the whole secret to this. The reason why I think the show's been successful is because I just like talking about it. I like going places. I like meeting people.
You
I'm like
do
the
do that.
Johnny Appleseed of comic conventions, because I just planted a flyer everywhere, hoping that a little fandom will sprout out, and they'll go, hey, I want to go to that show.
Yeah.
But that's it. I don't know if that answers your question or even what the question was, but that's what I think the success has been, a nonstop promotional 365, even when the show's not going on. I do a podcast every 2 weeks. We talk about it. I do video podcasts with people. We talk about comics. I go to comic stores, comic conventions. I just came back from Italy from a comic convention. I might go to one in North Carolina in 2 weeks, because you can't just stop.
Yeah.
If you stop, then they're going to forget about you. They really are. They'll just go, yeah, I remember that guy.
Yep.
So,
and that's one thing when we talked last time you were here that I was impressed with you watching your socials and stuff like that, is you don't just focus on your own Comic-Con. You're at all these other conventions, supporting them and, having a good time
the
and
rising
showing them off.
tide raises all ships. So don't put down the other guy. You're all one big community. You're all selling the same soap.
Yep.
It's like you're all selling pizza, whether you're Pepe's or Sally's or Modern or whatever the hell you want to go.
Yeah.
It's all pizza. It's all dough and sauce. It's not a mystery.
Yeah.
But some people do it better, and some people, have a better restaurant. So it's kind of like that. You don't knock the other guy and say,
No.
that show's a piece of crap.
I appreciate that. They do that in New Haven with all the restaurants down there, like
Yeah,
Ordinary and all that.
Yeah.
You go to one restaurant,
Yeah.
they'll be like, "Do you have?" You'd be like, "Do you have espresso martini?" They're like, "No, but so
So-and-so
and so
does.
has the
Yeah.
best." Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that makes everyone thrive.
Maybe that is growing up in New Haven, because I don't ever remember a competition going on. You know what I'm saying? It's like Yale was down the street. I was at Southern. Lord knows there was a big difference in tuition payment, but we were all in the same streets. We were all hanging out, going to the same parties, going to the same bars, going to the same restaurants. It's like, well, there's a Yaley here, and there's, it could be, what's the guy I'm thinking of right now? Giamatti. There could be Paul Giamatti, who's like my age. And he was at Yale the same time I was at. So we probably bumped into each other at the same comic book shops and stuff, but you never knew. Now you sit there and go, well, we were. And then when you see that guy, as an example, he seems normal.
Yeah.
He seems like he doesn't have the air about him, like, you know who I am.
Yeah, exactly.
Academy Award winner or whatever he is. But there's a certain humility that comes from being around here and grassroots stuff that comes across.
You mentioned this earlier, but
Yeah.
in 2017, CT GamerCon.
Yes.
How'd that come up? What motivated you to expand into the gaming world after Terrificon?
I got two boys, Spencer and Owen, but they don't like comic books. I tried. I made them watch Star Wars and Turtles and everything when they were kids. I brainwashed them, and they just didn't like it. But no, they like Star Wars. But the thing of it is, they like video games. Now, I'm old school. I like pinball machines and Space Invaders and Pac-Man. but they were into Xbox.
Yeah.
So I would rent out the Mohegan Sun for Terrificon, and I had a bunch of empty rooms up there, and I'm cheap. I'm like, well, if I'm paying for it, I'm using them.
Yeah.
So let's throw something up there. Don't just leave an empty room with a light on. What are you kidding me? That's I can hear my father. How much money does that cost to sit there empty? So we said, let's get video games. So I met a fellow named Jamie, and I said, do you have, Guitar Hero and Mario Kart? Yeah. So he hooked up a couple TVs and some monitors and some gaming consoles. So during Terrificon, I was like, where are our kids? Because I'm also cheap that I make my family work the show because you don't have to pay them and you can't fire them. So that my wife goes, they're upstairs. And they were upstairs for 3 or 4 hours. And they're in line playing Mario Kart or Smash Brothers. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? You got to get a job. Go down and get over. What is this video game nonsense you're doing? And down the hall, there was another empty room, and I had some Magic the Gathering guy named Steve. And I said, hey, you could have this room, do whatever the hell you want. All going to bring Pokemon and I don't care. Just fill it with something, will you? So I'm like, wait, is there any conventions around here that just specialize in video games and this Magic the Gathering? Well, there might be 1 or 2 here. No. Let's do it here at the Mohegan Sun. So it started as a test to see if anybody would show up. I'm like, I don't know if he's going to show up. So we did it in 2017 and called it CT GamerCon because I'm like, well, it's in the name. What is it? It's in Connecticut. And it's a show for gamers. So let's just not reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
So I called it that, but I didn't realize this. Terrificon audiences, those people are up at 9 o'clock in the morning. They can't wait to get in the door. So I opened the doors at 10 o'clock. There was nobody there. I was like, oh, geez, what a disaster. I just lost tens of thousands of dollars on this show. My kids go, no, Dad. People that play video games all night long, they're still sleeping.
Yeah.
They're not up at 10 in the morning. They'll show up about 2 or 3 o'clock. And sure enough, at 2 or 3 o'clock, you couldn't see across the ballroom because it was packed with people. Like, where the hell were you at 10 o'clock? Hey, can we stay till like midnight? Like, what? No, usually we end about 8 o'clock. It's like 10 to 8. No. GamerCon is completely opposite. It starts at 2 practically and goes to midnight because gamers don't wake up. They're sleeping in the early hours. So and that's how that show started. But it's a different audience, though. I thought it'd be a lot of crossover. There's a little bit of that, but not so much. So,
why did you go to Mohegan for Terrificon from Bridgeport?
Funniest thing is, before Bridgeport, I actually went to Mohegan Sun and offered them to do it because I knew they had a big expo center. Because there's only so many places in Connecticut. There's the Hartford Civic Center, which they have a show called Connecticon. And that's it, really. And Bridgeport had the arena, and there was nothing else.
Yeah.
So I called my friend Tony, who lived down near the another Tony.
Yeah.
He lived down near the Mohegan Sun, and the CEO's name was Mitch, which was weird. I was like, hey, that's my name. There's not a lot of Mitches. And I said, can I do a show down there? Because they had a big convention center. And at first they were hesitant because they said, well, we're a casino. We don't want people with masks on here because it makes sense. It's like you don't go to a bank wearing a mask. You know? And they were like, well, we'll have to work around it. And they were trying to figure out how to get cosplayers into the building without
going through the casino.
Going through the security. Yeah. So it was so it just kept going on and on and on. So it didn't happen. I remember the guy's name was Gary Baker. I still have the emails. He's like, I don't think this is going to work. There's no comic book conventions at a casino anywhere in the world. Nobody's doing this stuff. All right. So then we went there. So after the success of the Bridgeport show, Mohegan calls back and says, hey, we saw your show on the front page of the paper. Let's start talking again. Let's start seeing if we can make this work because we have the same facility. We have free parking. And we do have family events here. People might just think of it, oh, it's an adult crowd, it's gaming and nightclubs. But no, there's actually convention centers and restaurants and a shopping center. It's like, oh, okay. So that's what started in 2015. That's 10 years ago this year. And no one had done it before. There was like, the Chuck Yeager of Comic-Cons. We're going to break the Comic-Con barrier at a casino. And I didn't, honestly, I didn't think people were going to show up like they did. I was like, well, maybe we'll
Uncasville.
It's 75 miles away from the other one. It's farther. I don't know if people are going to bring their families. Who knows what's going to happen? So let's do it. So we actually got like 19,000 people, more than Bridgeport.
Wow.
So it was like, oh, wow. this is going to work.
Mhm.
And then it got bigger and bigger and bigger. So yeah, and here we are now, 10 years later, with like 30,000 people, the giant expo center, which wasn't there.
I was gonna ask,
They
when,
did that-
when was that built?
2018.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We were the second show they had. The first show was something called the Barrett Jackson Car Auction,
Cool.
which is like this world famous car thing. And we were the second show. And they're like,
Mhm.
okay, let's see if his show will work. And again, there was so much space in that place
Yes.
because it's like 300,000
I
square
love
feet.
that. I love
And
it
I'm
there.
like, what are we going to put there? So we started with the video games again, and then we added special classes, and we did more panels, and we did workshops, and more cosplayers, and then we had the 501st guys show up with their costumes and displays and stuff. So we had a lot more room to grow.
Mhm.
But now I've already filled the thing. I mean, we sell out a vendor space within months, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
And I have it all mapped out, and I know what's going on here, and you guys are there.
We will be there.
Yeah, and it's just trying to squeeze as much as you can into a thing. Because my idea with the shows is, I always say it's like Disney World. I want you to be thoroughly exhausted. I just come back from Italy. We walk like 20,000 steps or 30,000 a day. You know what I'm saying? I think it was
Yes.
more like 30,000. And your feet are killing you, and your legs are tired, but you're still got some, energy. You're like, well, what else is there to see? That's what I like the shows to be like. I like you to say, oh, I got my money's worth.
Yes.
I paid my money, but Jesus God, did I not have a good time? I was there all day. I was there from 10 o'clock to the 8 o'clock closing, and then we went out to the casino floor. And we went out
Yes.
to the restaurants. And
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's sorry to cut you off.
no,
but
no,
one,
no, no. That's the whole secret. I want people to say, oh, I got to go back because I missed something. you
Well,
know?
one thing that I do love about your con, and we've only been there once, I can't stress that enough, but we've obviously, you guys know, DTV people, we've been to Rhode Island, we've been to New York, and New York's great. Don't get me, because they're obviously the top of the top. They've done it for a long time. They kind of get it. They have a big venue.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to hate on Rhode Island because,
No.
we have a good time there.
Again, everybody's different.
Exactly.
Pepe's doesn't say anything about salads.
But the one thing I do like about yours is it's busy.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on,
Yeah.
but I can breathe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
I don't feel like
I've been in New York. I've been in hallways in New York where you can't move.
Exactly.
You can't move for like 20 minutes. And I'm like shoulder to shoulder with a cop. And I looked at him one day. It was years ago because some booth started giving away something. It was right in the middle of the floor, the first wing of that Javits Center. And you don't want to be there because some free T-shirts. And as soon as they hear the free, it's like people like sharks in the water. Everyone came in there, and then to go from here to there, like 20 or 30 feet, you couldn't move. You literally could not move. God forbid somebody on fire or something. We're pinned in like this. I remember a cop next to me, and I go, dude, can't you open this line? Because no, you just got to go. And you literally have to like slowly move like a traffic jam and that to get yourself out of there. But if you have claustrophobia, you don't want to be in those crowds because I'm like, this is not. I'm sure it's safe, but it doesn't feel very comforting
Well,
right now.
you said it earlier. It feels like time's slowing down, and it doesn't
'cause
feel like you're gonna ever get
you're
out.
not
You're
going to
not
get out of there. You start to panic, and you almost like just don't think about it. Don't think about it. It'll be fine. Everything's going to be all right. And eventually, it will be, but it is a little too much. Like I just need to see some air.
And the bathroom situation and stuff. And remember in New York, Tony, it was a little tough for us with that. And
oh, really?
Well, Michael has to go frequently, so.
well, also we are in cosplay outfits.
No, yeah, we're in.
Diaper, you'll be all right.
Yeah. He'll fill that up real quick.
No. Jesus, God. Is that what I've been kicking under the table?
Well, one of my other questions is, it seems pretty complicated putting on a whole convention.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest challenges behind the scenes that you face in your years, or what's the most challenging?
Well, the biggest challenge is I told you earlier, because it's once a year and twice a year if you count GamerCon.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to do everything because I go, look, I got 365 days. I got nothing to do. I don't have a 9-to-5 job. I don't punch a clock or anything like that. So how hard could this be? So I take my time and I make the graphics. And it's leisurely. I go to Photoshop. I take your photo. I put some pictures around. It's fine. I do the website. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, I got to draw some pictures now because you'll see if you ever go look at our Instagram and other stuff, there's a dull or a lull period right after the show in August till about Christmas time when I'm just like hanging out. Hey, everybody, look, I drew a picture today because it's just like trying to keep myself busy. There's a Lego I made. It's like literally this guy's got nothing to do. And in between reading comic books and watching movies. But it starts ramping up now. Like this last the last 2 to 3 months before the show is like go time. You know, I'm literally ordering airline tickets today for some of the actors. I'm dealing with billboards and when we're putting up the graphics because I'm making the graphics. And I go, which graphic looks good? Which one? If you're driving on the highway at 80 miles an hour, though you're not supposed to, and you look up and you see a billboard, what is going to catch your eye? What do I have to put up there? So all this craziness that I'm making at my house, I literally have a monitor on our kitchen table. I turn the lights out and I stand across the room 30 feet away with 3 different designs for the billboard, and I run by real quick to see which one. And I bring people over. I go, now don't look. What do you see when you run by? And they're like, what? I go, what did you see? They're like, Terrificon March 7th. It's not. It's August 8th to the 10th. So I have to go back and I change it up and I make the graphics bigger and stuff and the colors differently. And that's the stuff that you second guess yourself, even though I've been doing it for 13 years now and I'm pretty successful, if I can say so. But there's always like a doubt that you want to tweak it and you want to make it better than it was before. My wife goes, why don't you just pick up the billboard you thought was great last year? No, that was last year. It wasn't good. I don't know why I thought it was good. I'm sure this is better, you know? And it's like, no, if it worked last year, it would probably work again. And people might go, oh, okay, they're coming back. But, yeah, the hardest part of it is letting go a lot of the stuff too, because like you said, you see me everywhere moving tables around and people are like, look, dude, you don't have to unload the trucks. You don't have to go put the signs up with Scotch tape, and you could get people to do that, you know. But I'm from the old school where I did it all myself. When I got out of college, I was the only guy in the art department doing the photography, doing the copywriting, doing the layout, doing the design, the illustration. I was it. And then it's hard to let go of that. Once you get, you know, once you guys learn how to do everything, you do your film work, your editing, you know how to do all this stuff. I'm sure there's somebody else that knows just as much as you, but in your mind, you've got a picture of what you want it to look like and how it's supposed to go. Oh, I have whole scenarios. Oh, the panel's going to do this, and we're going to bring this guy out, and people are going to clap at this point, and this and that. It doesn't always work that way, but in your head, you have it filmed already, and it's hard to take that image and give it to somebody else and say, here, this is what I think it's going to look like, because they might not do this 365. They have their own job, and they go, you don't come to my job and tell me how everything's going to look. So why do you expect me to understand what you're trying to get at? So if I could, I would clone myself, but I hate myself. So that'd be a really hard working relationship there. I'd be fighting with myself all day. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, and my kids don't want to do it. They're all, one's in New York, one's in DC. They're all doing their own thing. They don't have any interest in doing comic book conventions. My wife, she has a full-time job that she's really great at too. So she doesn't want to do it. You guys want it? Anybody want it? I'll just, throw it out there.
Yeah,
you'll take it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Run it right into the ground.
No.
There it goes.
We'll take it to the
God,
to a galaxy far, far away.
Right into the Death Star. Boom! It blew up. But I don't know. It is what it is. I want it to be bigger. If I could have my druthers, and I don't have the funds for such a thing, I would decorate the whole place more than I do now. If you go in, you'll see that I have the comic book covers and the giant statues. That's what I could afford to do. Yeah. But if I had my way, I would make floor to ceiling graphics, like comic book covers or characters, like those fathead stickers when you were a kid. I would get them the size of a 24 by 40 foot billboard and put, when you walked in there, you're like walking into a comic book. Yes. That would be glorious to me. And, we do music on top and we try to theme it with like, theme songs from the Power Rangers or Rangers Lost Ark or something like that. So when you're in there, you feel like you're oh my God, they're playing the theme to Superman, and you just want to run around and put your hands out and fly like a little kid with a towel around your neck. That's what I'm trying to emote when people are in there. They're trying to gel all those nostalgia, those member berries they call them, all at the same time. You're like, oh my God, there's Haley Atwell. Here's the Captain America music. Oh my God, I'm tap. You just want to feel that. But,
no, you're definitely there, but like to get it as big as you want, maybe by the 15-year anniversary.
No, but that's the thing. When you mentioned going to New York Comic Con, you don't get that because you just feel like you're in a giant warehouse. Yeah, with a lot of stuff being pushed, and I try to keep the small town feel I had when we were doing the one-day shows, where it was literally, a couple thousand people, and it's not that big environment. Even though we're bigger, I still like that that community feel. You know what I'm saying? That people would show up and you'd hang out with your friends all day.
Yeah.
Like, hey, there's Mitch. Hey, guys, Tony, what's going on? And try to get that first name small town feel, even though there's 30,000 people. You want to treat each person like they're your best friend. And you could go sit in the corner and talk about turtles or talk about Power Rangers. Yeah, and you enjoy yourself. You know? It's like a 3-day love fest for nerdy stuff.
Exactly.
You know?
No, it
And when
definitely
you
is.
meet the actors, there's a breathing room. You
yeah.
can actually talk to them.
Yes.
Because these other shows, look, I've been there. I literally, people laugh when they see me in New York Comic Con because I'm in line getting autographs and photos with the celebrities. Even though I do know the managers and the actors backstage, I could go to the green room and say, the hell with this. I'm not spending a dime and take selfies and get an autograph. But that's not the fan experience. I literally like, well, what are people paying money to do? So I want to be there. And I've had people go, aren't you the guy from Terrificon? Yeah. Why are you in line to get Haley Atwell's autograph? She's coming to your show. I go, well, I want to see what it's like. And I stand in line for an hour and I get the 2-second quick picture, here's the autograph. And they shove it up. So I'm like, this is what I don't want to happen.
Yes.
Right. So when you come to my show, they're a little bit more relaxed. The actors are a little more, hey, how you doing? Oh, I really like it. And there is 20 people behind you, so they can't spend hours with you.
Right.
But you don't feel like it's a cattle call. You don't feel like you're getting shoved down a chute and like, keep moving.
Exactly.
Come on, don't look him in the eye.
I mean,
you spelled your name wrong. That's your problem. Spell it differently. Tony with an eye. I don't care.
Well, you've seen it. We obviously, but that makes me think of our time with Michael Rooker.
Rooker,
my God, big celebrity.
Rooker.
And
no interviews.
Not yet. It says no interviews. Kind of intimidating of a guy in general.
He is that way.
And
but he's a sweetheart though.
But we got to witness that side of him because we're like, hey, Tony was interviewing him that time. And said, hey,
I
you
saw
mind?
it was hysterical.
And he's like, well, I'm only gonna do it if you do it my way. And Tony's like, all right. And he's like, we're gonna do a shtick, all right? Just play along. And so he did, and it was a great time.
I love
and
it.
They had a good laugh.
It was like
the watch.
The Days of Thunder.
Days of
watch.
Thunder.
And then he says, you made some kid do push-ups.
Push-ups.
Yeah.
He goes, his form was terrible. He couldn't even do 10. That was cracking me up. Yeah, because Rooker went to school to be a phys ed teacher.
Well, that makes
no
sense.
kidding.
Yeah,
Like you could see that, and when because we witnessed it, we watched
Oh
it.
no, I sat there with Michael. We had to go somewhere once. I didn't know it was going to go that way that day, so we're sitting out front, waiting for a ride, and we're just sitting in the middle of the Norwich. Yeah, Norwich. And I go, so how did you get into this? He goes, well, I went to school to be a PE teacher, and I went there, and I got this in theater. And I was like, what about you? And it's like you and I talking now, and we're just sitting there talking to each other. And it was just weird. I remember a homeless person came by and said, you guys got any money? And neither one of us had any wallets on it. I said, oh, sorry, but I can't help you. And the guy looks over at Rooker, and he goes, aren't you on The Walking Dead? No, man, I just look like this. Okay. And the guy just keeps walking away. And I was like, wait a second. I think they're probably like, no, that couldn't be. Why would they be sitting in the middle of Norwich, Connecticut, on a hot summer day with these two guys like, nah, well, why is Jay Leno sitting with,
with Michael Rooker? What is he doing?
Yondu. I don't know. I don't think this is possible. So,
So another question about Terrificon is, do you have to pitch to have guests like for actors and stuff?
Yeah.
And if you do, which you just said yes to, what's a memorable pitch you made in the past, 13 years, 10 years
to get people to show up?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's contractual, if you do it. But sometimes you get people like Henry Winkler, Ralph Macchio, they just show up. And I didn't ask them. They called me. And it was like, what's going on here? I remember Henry Winkler called like a month before the show.
Hey.
And he said, basically like, oh, Henry wants to come in. He's going to be in town. I'm like, really? The Fonz? So they sold me on it because my wife and I swear to hand to God, we were like, is anybody going to know who Fonzie is? We know who Fonzie is, but I didn't realize that Mr. Winkler had, Barry and he had Arrested Development because I didn't really watch a lot of TV. So I was like, I just remember him from the 70s and the early 80s. But that guy, to this day, I think he had the longest line we ever had. It went down the whole middle aisle, and he was there for hours signing autographs.
He's legendary for sure.
Yeah,
he really is.
Yeah, and he was. I think we had what do you call it? Last year, Keanu Reeves.
Oh,
that's right. That was crazy.
Yeah,
Keanu Reeves was nuts. That was a last minute thing. I think you guys were setting up, and I was telling you, and I said, I said on the other side of that wall's Keanu Reeves. You're like, no, really? I said, no, really, he is. You're like, get out of here. I was like, yeah. but he only had like a 2-hour window
because he had the
be there.
panel. And
No, he had to be at the
With the
other,
show
at
in
the
New
other
Haven,
show.
yes.
No, he had the what's the Dog Star?
No, he was
Dog
playing for his
Star.
band, right?
Yeah, he was
Yes.
doing that, and they said he could be there till 2:00, and the show didn't open up till 1:30, so we had to move the schedules around. But he had like a 2-hour break so he could meet some people.
Yeah, for
Which
the
we did.
comic book that he.
Yeah, because I was like,
part
you
of.
know, let's try to make this. The reason why he was there is because my friend Ron Garney did the artwork, and Keanu wrote the story. So it's like,
Got
if
it.
he's gonna come in, let's
Focus on
honor
that.
its comic books. Let's
Yeah.
not do
The
Speed,
Matrix
The
and stuff,
Matrix. Let's
yeah.
just focus on his comic books to keep it centered on that. So
Yeah.
that's what we did. But boy, oh boy, that was crazy. That was a last minute thing because
Yeah.
he called on a Tuesday and the show was a Friday. So with a span of like 2 days, we had to deal with security, publicists, scheduling, how it's
Yeah.
going to work, how we're going to get the people, how we're going to select the people, which
Yeah.
people are going to see them, and But it came out. If there were people got to meet him, they weren't expected. It was like a little surprise.
Yeah.
You know that happens at Mohegan Sun that you don't get anywhere else.
Yeah. Only at Terrificon.
Yeah, seriously. It's like the old Johnny Carson shows. Like, who's gonna walk? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Bob Hope, and he comes walking out or whoever. So, but pitching at anybody, I do go up to some people. Dave DeSmolchin, you know the actor Dave DeSmolchin. He was in Ant-Man. He's in a zillion movies. Very talented actor. He
Tony's
played.
looking him up for me.
No,
I'm good with faces.
Late Night with the Devil was a movie he did about devil being on a talk show. Anybody? It was a great movie.
Sounds familiar.
So Dave DeSmolchin, we were in New York Comic Con. He also writes a comic book called Count Crowley. And
oh yes,
Okay.
yeah, you know if you see him.
Yes,
He's the
definitely.
guy,
Yeah,
Bobby Yaga in the Ant-Man movies. and,
Yes.
yeah.
He's creepy in movies. Like,
He's
he
in
does a good
everything.
job.
He's in Blade Runner. He's a dude.
Yes.
So I'm in Artist Alley, New York City, and he's got a book out called Count Crowley. It's like a Svengoolie character. It's like a makeup TV host, horror host. So there was an incident at one of the shows, not my show, thank goodness, where there was poop. Let's just put it like poop was found on a floor in near a
Like
photo
human
office.
feces?
Well, at the time, the story was there was poop on the floor at a convention,
Tony.
And I said, it might have been you guys. So I said to my friend Franco, who's a comic book artist and writer, and Dave DeSmolchin was there. I said, let me just say, after 12 years or 10 years, whatever it is, of doing Terrificon, I am proud to say we've never had anyone defecate on our floors, and we're going to stick to it. And Dave DeSmolchin comes walking by. He hears me making this big decree. He goes, challenge accepted. And I'm like, oh, God. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad
Well,
thing.
him saying that, you could definitely see him like being
that
serious.
guy.
Maybe.
It's like, ladies and gentlemen, boys. Oh my God! Don't go over there. The small chin. How could you do it? You challenged me, and I accepted your challenge. So there's the straight poop for you.
Yeah, that's
That was-
cool.
Yeah, that's the only odd pitch that I've had to deal with.
That's cool.
So any actors out there who were willing to come to Terrificon to poop on the floor,
you're welcome to
more
challenge.
than welcome to do it. Just
Yeah.
give us. We'll maybe sell it as a photo op special, autograph, selfie, combo, photo op, and poop.
Yeah, no.
You know.
Once only at Terrificon. Only at Terrificon.
Only once a day too, because depending on their constitution,
True.
you can't get a lot.
Yeah, and I don't know how poop lasts over a couple of days. You're
Mohegan Sun's like never again.
no. They probably love you now.
Not after the poop.
Yeah. So currently you are on a show called Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure.
Yes.
You and Ed Dolista. I hope I said that
No,
right.
Dolista.
Dolista.
Right?
I hope
It's
so.
weird. It sounds like Dollister, but
Yeah.
there's no R in it. Yeah.
Dive into classic movies and TV shows
Yes.
with infectious enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Especially because your intro is really cool. How
Oh,
you
he
know,
kills me every week?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Every
he,
week.
he gets killed every week.
Ed
really?
calls
Yeah.
up. Oh, this week we're gonna. I go okay.
And he
I
like gets blown up.
I get
and he
blown
does,
up.
He does it
I've
all.
got cut in
like,
half.
you know,
Things
cool.
drop
Yeah.
on me. Yeah, it's always fun to watch myself get killed on TV.
How do you guys decide which nostalgic gems to cover?
Well, it started during COVID because everybody was on lockdown, and Australia was really hard hit. I
It was.
Ed couldn't go out of his house for like 45 minutes a day. That was it.
Yeah.
You couldn't leave. You couldn't go within a mile of you. It was crazy. It's
It
like you
was.
cannot go anywhere.
Yeah.
So he was losing his mind in his house, trapped in his house. He's a teacher, and there was no classes to go to. So he's like, he and his wife were stuck in their house with their cats. So he and I did the IndieCast podcast, and he said, why don't we started doing the Zoom stuff just to have a human connection so that you didn't think the world was gone. And then we would just talk like we always do about movies and TV. And then I'd say, why don't we just film this or whatever? So Ed gathered up the stuff, the Zoom call stuff or whatever it was. So we just started doing our normal BS session about a particular movie or movie posters or drive-in theaters and stuff, because he's from Australia and I'm from Connecticut. They're not the exact same place, because he would tell me things that happened there or movies that were successful there that here didn't make $5. I'm like, that movie bombed. Oh no, that's the greatest movie ever made. I'm like, no, it's not. So that just started like that. And now it's been over 5 years. We just keep doing it now. But the reason why we pick certain shows is I'll mention something to him and he'll be like, what? I said, Bigfoot and Wild Boy. What the hell's that? I go, well, it was about this kid whose friend was a Bigfoot in the 70s. It was on Saturday morning, and they would hang out and fight crime in the woods. He's like, was there a lot of crime in the woods? I'm like, I don't know, but I just watched it. I didn't think about it at the time. Why are you going to ruin everything, Ed? So we'll do a Bigfoot and Wild Boy. And then Ed will call up and say, oh, can we do Can't Stop the Music? I go, what? With Bruce Jenner, the Village People, and Susan Anton or something like that from 1980? That's the biggest movie ever. They play it every year on New Year's Eve in Australia. It's a traditional thing. And I go, dude, I think that movie made 12 cents. And he's like, oh, we got to do it. Or I'll throw something out there. And he's like a huge disco fan. We've got to do a Saturday Night Fever. And he collects worse than I do. His basement is just as nutty as mine. He's got like Saturday Night Fever. He's got disco balls in the background and all that stuff. I'm like, all right, we'll do a Saturday Night Fever. And he gets all excited about it. Olivia Newton-John, we're going to do Grease. I'm like, oh, God, here we go. And I always said, you can tell the ones I pick because they're all superhero oriented. It's like, we're going to do the Hulk, we're going to do Spider-Man, we're going to do, and I point that out to him. I go, notice the ones that get the most views are the popular ones that I pick with the Herculoids or Dynamite or Space Ghost. And the ones you tend to pick are not as popular. It's like, shut up. But there's a good blend in there. And sometimes when they don't take off, like we've done reviews of like the Indiana Jones movies and the Star Wars movies, and you think those are going to be the biggest ones because obviously they're Star Wars and or Indiana Jones or anything. They don't get huge ratings. People are like, I've seen 1,000 YouTube videos about that. But if we do something obscure like The Night Stalker, which was a great TV show I loved about a guy who was a reporter, would go after monsters, thousands of people watch that. You know, it's like, I can't figure people out. I don't know. If I do a show about the Turtles, we'll get you guys writing me letters like, you're totally wrong. You didn't do, because a lot of our research is what we can remember. And sometimes we don't remember everything exactly. We're like, I do believe Ernest Borgnine starred as Mr. Rourke on Fantasy Island. And it's like, what the hell? YouTube audiences are not very forgiving. They get after like blood in the water. They're like, these idiots don't know what they're talking about. How dare you say you know James Bond? You don't even know James Bond. It's like,
one of our talents at Downtime, Manny, was called
a dork.
A dork.
A dork.
The biggest dork ever.
Really? Is that possible?
And Manny was just like, we made it.
Yeah.
I've got my first hater.
This is it.
Like, we got it.
I had one guy just write to us because we did Airwolf. Remember Airwolf with the helicopter? You don't remember that? Tony? No? Anyway,
you want to just show it?
Airwolf.
No, you're not.
Airwolf was a show about Jan Michael Vincent.
Oh, cool.
And Ernest Borgnine, who's from Connecticut. And they, what do you call it? They had they would fight crime in a helicopter that they parked in a burnt out volcano in the middle of the desert, as one would.
No.
And apparently I said the wrong type of helicopter. It wasn't a Sikorsky. It was a Bell, whatever. You know, I'm like, I don't know, dude. And you get somebody who writes in, well, next time, Mitch, if he starts off with an I think, I'm going to doubt his credibility because he's totally wrong. That is a XT-327 Huey helicopter. It's like,
there it
dude.
is.
A Bell 222.
A Bell, okay, here we go.
Hey, Tony's the guy that wrote you.
Yeah, probably. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know your little whirly bird or whatever it is.
Sounds like a pretty cool show.
Yeah, it does.
One of them, you never, how about Knight Rider?
Yeah.
So we did one about Knight Rider, and truth to tell now, I never watched one episode of Knight Rider, and I was like, I do like the episode where he meets Carr, the villainous Carr. There was another like bad guy.
Yeah.
Like the good talking car
And the
versus the
bad-
bad talking car. No, I wasn't going to watch that.
Oh, okay. I know Ernest.
I didn't know Ernest was from Connecticut, to be
He's
honest.
from Hampton, Connecticut.
Hampton,
My
it says,
grandfather
yeah.
knew him. He lived on Olivia Street.
Cool.
Hampton,
A
Connecticut.
lot of famous people from Connecticut, Tony.
Academy Award winner
Yeah.
Wow.
from the movie Marty, 1954. Because I do that to Ed all the time, too, because Ed is in disbelief when we'll talk about a show, and I go, oh, so-and-so. You know where they're from? Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Does everybody live in this Connecticut?
yeah,
I
Tony
go,
hates
pretty
that
much.
Connecticut's like awesome.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
no.
everybody's
that's not
from
what I said.
Connecticut. Yeah. Sooner or later, they end up here.
Yeah.
It's like the Star Wars bar.
You never find no more wretched scum in the entire universe.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
that's just
That's
Greenwich.
Connecticut.
That's Greenwich.
Yeah.
In Westport.
Do you still co-host the Power Cosmic podcast?
Yes.
Cool.
I'll be doing one this Thursday.
How is it, working with legendary comic creator Jerry Ordway?
Oh my God, it's like driving Miss Daisy. It's pretty bad. My wife goes, "That's so funny when you met Jerry years ago, because I've known him for like 20 years now, maybe longer." She goes, "You worship that guy as a god." Now it's like, oh God, Jerry's texting me at 8:00 in the morning because he found a bat in his house. Oh, he thinks he got bit by the bat now, and I'm like, yeah. And we go to this restaurant. It's the Colony Grill in Fairfield, Connecticut, and we literally will sit there, we'll have our pizza, and then we kind of go, well, what are you going to talk about? I don't know. I got mice in my attic, or okay, whatever. And eventually we will talk about comic books and movies, and he'll give you insight on things that only a guy in the industry would know. But you have to sift through the background noise of dishes clanging and babies screaming and stuff. That's the ambiance. That's the stuff you don't get on a nice, well-ordered. We don't have headphones.
Yeah.
We don't have microphones. I literally put my iPhone in the middle of the table and block it with some menus so it cuts down on some of the sound. And that's about it. It's a mad ramble for an hour and a half. And we talk about everything, politics, this, that, whatever. But it's good. It's been going on for like 300 episodes or something like that.
Wow.
And then we go to the movies and we'll review mostly it's superhero movies.
Yeah.
And people have to listen to Jerry and I because I give Jerry directions as we're driving. He gets lost every single
that's awesome.
time.
You're filming it while you're going?
And I'm going, anyway, so in the scene where Michael B. Jordan walked in, take a left. And people go, what the hell is that? And then the guy goes, I wish this was animated because you're hearing these stories and all of a sudden they would cut to an overhead shot of a car like getting on 95 and getting off exit 2. Oh, there's a fire over there. Watch out. We better pull around. The guy's got a flat tire. And we just, every week we leave the Colony Grill when we go to the Milford movie theater. Jerry goes, do I take a right or a left? Every time. I said, Jerry, if you take that right, we're going to end up in the harbor here over in Milford and we're going to drown. You have to take the left. There's no other way to go every single time. I can't remember. Do I take a right or a left here? And people are like, please tell him to take the right so I can hear you guys scream and drown in the car. So. But yes, it is fun to work with Jerry. He's a very talented artist and writer. Did Superman, did Shazam for years, and he's still doing comic books. But he knows everybody. But he does drive me crazy because he doesn't hate anything, no matter how bad the movie is.
He finds something good.
The people worked hard, and they got to say something. No, it sucked, Jerry. Just say it was a piece of crap. No, it's not a piece of crap. No, there's always a silver lining in every cloud. I'm like, no, Jerry, that was a tornado. We're going to die. But he does that though. He doesn't want to say anything. He's the good guy on the show where I'm just screaming in the background, I want my money back. What a waste of life that was. I'm 2 hours closer to death now. Thanks a lot. Venom 3. The Last Dance.
Aside from the haters on YouTube, people do love Terrificon. What's been some rewarding feedback you've gotten from fans of Terrificon?
What haters on YouTube?
The ones that were hating on you.
I thought you guys got rid of those.
No, we try. We had a heckler on one of our
Did you?
lives. Shoot, heckler.
Every so often.
Well,
yeah.
you mean
This one was
where they were texting?
They were messaging,
they're commenting in.
And we had our producer Joey Greenwood. He was just like he couldn't handle it anymore and just like started blocking him.
Really?
And then he came up on new accounts.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, you could just leave him, but we were having a good time.
Yeah, no, I like it.
No, I've been on
I do
other
like
shows. I read the comments and I see people like, tell them to shut up. I go, and I got that street attitude. I'm like, you want to go?
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go.
yeah.
And everyone's like, don't fight with the internet. I'm
No,
like,
it's
no,
not
let's
worth
go.
it.
I'm rolling my sleeves up. Come on, bring it on, buddy. They're like, you can't do that. I go, oh, yes, I can. What do you do for a living, jerk?
Yeah, no,
Why
literally.
don't you come out
Tony,
here?
Tony was saying some crazy stuff back at him.
Really?
Yeah, I forget what
I
was,
can't say it right out.
Oh, so what your advice to people
yeah.
watching this, if there is anybody still alive, not to fight with the internet?
Well,
just ignore them?
It's almost like it was nice because I was good cop, he was bad cop, and
Yeah,
I'd be
yeah,
like, "Hey,
well.
I like your handle, your YouTube handle," and Tony would be like, "I'll effing ruin you," you know, like.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because he was
Yeah.
saying that he's like 6 feet tall, he's bigger, he's bench
Tony's like,
pressing,
"I will
whatever.
F you."
Yeah. Forget about it.
I had a guy threaten me the other day. He wanted a certain guest. And I said, well, that's not happening. Well, you better get him or else. And I go, or else what? And they're like, well, I know a guy. I said, I know the chief of police in Mohegan Sun. Well, you want to come to the show or what? I know your name, idiot. You know, it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Ooh.
No, but yeah,
Let's
the
go crazy.
opposite of those people. Have you had anybody come up to you at the cons or write to you or text message you?
And what? With negative stuff?
No, positive. Being like, I had such a good time or whatever.
Well, I don't take compliments well because it's just my issues I have, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I get a lot of compliments. I'm very wary about stuff. It's almost like I don't know. I grew up in a place where you never made eye contact with somebody walking on the street because if you did, they lock eyes. They could have $1.
Yeah,
Have a quarter, so you kind of look past them, and somebody said, "Hey, you look good." You go, "What's your problem?" It's like nothing. You look like. Why do you say that? What do you want?
Yeah.
I remember we moved to Branford when we first got married, and Branford's a nice, quiet little Connecticut town, and they got little restaurants, and there's churches on the green, and there's birds singing in the sky, and it's okay. It's not where I grew up. And I walked down the street. I was like Sunday morning. You can hear church bells ringing, and these people are walking towards us, and they're like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I start looking behind me, like, "Who the hell are they talking to?"
Mm-hmm.
And the next one goes, "Hi." Talking to me? It's like it suddenly becomes a taxi driver impression.
Yeah.
And my wife's like, "Yo, hey, how you doing?" I go, "Who's that guy?" "I don't know." "Well, what are you saying hello to him for?" "Because he said hi to him." "Yeah, but we don't know that guy. What's this about? What is going on here?" To this day, I still have that kind of people. "Hey, I really like your show." "Yeah, what's your problem?" "Nothing. I just like your show." Yeah. What about it?" "Nothing. I just give you a compliment." What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Want a free ticket? Is that what you want? No, I don't want a free ticket. I'm just telling you. Okay, just keep walking, buddy.
Yeah.
But the internet's like that. So if you see somebody like, "What do you want? What do you? I can't give you a free autograph. Get out of here."
Yeah.
No, I don't know. How do you trust people?
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
You're wary, aren't you wary?
I am.
Would you run down the streets around here at night?
You should see going out with these two schmucks. Everybody's their best friend.
Oh no!
Oh my God!
No.
You buy
That's
Tony
like
a
Jerry.
drink.
That's like Jerry's.
We're
like,
just friendly and Michael's not.
Yeah,
No,
really.
see,
No,
we
my
get
God,
along.
I get along.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I both know at any minute these two.
They're done.
They're done. They'll,
Yeah.
they'll turn on you like a dog in a meat factory. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, we can
Look at
still
Tony
read.
go. Yeah.
We can read the people. We know
Read
if they're,
them?
Yeah,
Read
if they're
them.
like they're not like good vibes or whatever. But like we have like when I'm first meeting someone or talking to them, I don't have a face that's like looks like I'm gonna kill you. It's I put a nice smile on. You know?
I
like,
get that too. People are like, you always got that look at what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You can smile. I go, that's not a smile. It's a smirk. I go,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
What
Well,
do you
you know,
want?
you
What do you
gotta.
want? Teeth? What do you want? What do you,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
much, why do I gotta amuse you? What am I, like a clown? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. No, you're
How am I funny?
How am I
Yeah.
funny?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
you said I was funny. What's so funny about me?
How do I know? You said it.
That was just on the other night, and I was watching that scene and go, It was the TV version, so
Oh,
they got rid
great.
of all the F-bombs,
Yeah,
and it's like you can see Pesci's mouth moving over his lips. You're like, they don't match up. It's like a bad
So good.
monster movie.
One of the few mafia movies Tony.
Oh,
has-
I love that movie.
Yeah.
I took my wife to see that movie. I was on the floor laughing my head off, and she's like, "What is so funny?" I go, "Oh my God, he said he was in construction." Me and 7 other guys in the theater in New Haven were dying. She goes, "What do you do for a living, Henry?" "Oh, I'm in construction." And I just burst out laughing, and 5 other guys. She goes, "Why is that funny?" I go, "Oh yeah, you know. If you knew, you know.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah.
You'll learn.
Yeah, no, don't ask questions and stuff. Goodfellas is the best gangster movie. Well, not a good.
I haven't seen them all. Tony could.
No, it's only
attest.
one. I've never watched the Godfather movies. People are like, why? I go,
Oh, wow.
You don't need to do that. My father would be like, hey, there's no such thing as the mafia. Who are you, the FBI? don't watch that. Just turn the channel. Put on Huckleberry Hound. Put on the cartoons. Just watch Superman. Don't worry about that guy.
Yeah, it's not
It's
my
happening,
life.
Dad. Yeah.
2025.
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah.
What surprises or new features are you most excited for the fans?
Well, it's the all nude show. I didn't know if you guys put that
Wow.
out there. Yeah, everybody. I'm going to be totally
so
naked.
we got to paint our Luigi and Mario costumes on us.
I saw a guy once at New York Comic Con, and I didn't think twice about it. He walked into the men's room with a trench coat and a Batman hood, and couple seconds later, he came out completely naked, but a gray body paint, and that was his costume. And he just got on the escalator, and
with his
everything. The Batawang was hanging out and everything, you know. So I'm getting on the escalator, and you kind of get that New York daze, like you're not paying attention much, and I kind of just glance up and I go, is that his bat buttocks in front of me? And sure enough, he's completely naked, you know? And I'm like, oh, this elevator can't go fast enough. Or the escalator
God.
can't go fast enough. And it's like,
because you're just staring right up into
well, you're just staring up at
Yeah.
like an exam. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I'm like, sir, you really should check out that node on your colon there. But at the top of the stairs was 2 New York City Police Department guys waiting for him. I was just like, where did you think you were going to go,
Yeah.
Batawang? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They got him as soon as he got off the thing. He was like, hey, what? And they just grabbed him. I don't, God bless those policemen, because I don't want to touch this naked bat dude. You know what I'm saying? You know, God knows what he's got on him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I remember that, and we're not going to have that this year.
Okay, good.
But if you guys want to do your Luigi and Mario thing in the all together, so we know, I'll tell the people, don't bring the kids into the side room.
Yeah.
Adults only.
Yes.
They're chasing mushrooms.
Any new guests?
No,
Like-
just bring the old people in, the same people.
No, you
Aaron,
bring
get it
Kevin
again.
Eastman.
I'm just kidding.
Oh. Well, I didn't know if he was being
You got
serious or
him.
not.
Well, there's no guess. It's just me.
Oh, well then.
A card table, a couple magic
Dungeons and
tricks,
Dragons
Dungeons and
table.
Dragons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Flipping cards on the floor.
Well, can you give a
no,
sneak
this
peek?
year, yes, sir. If you're into comic books, we got Kevin Eastman, your hero there, the
Yes.
co-creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He'll be
Yep.
there too. If you're into comic books, we have John Romita Jr. I mentioned his father earlier, but
Mhm.
legendary artist John Romita Jr. We have Jonathan Hickman, who's like a superior writer of all things Marvel. He's got a brand new series. And we have Chris Claremont, who's the X-Man, who created all those stories that you've read about for 50 years now.
Wow.
Wolverine, Cyclops, Phoenix, all that stuff. He'll be with us once again. We got Scotty Young, who the kids just love his artwork style. He's a big Marvel guy there too. We got Mark Silvestri, who's one of the creators of or founders of Image Comics back in the day. So he'll be there. He worked alongside Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane and such like that. And of course, we have the returning comic book creators like Jerry Ordway, Jim Starlin, Dan Jurgens. There's hundreds of them. And the reason why I bring up comic book creators first is because first and foremost,
Mhm.
even though we do get your celebrities,
Yeah.
it is a comic book focused show. There's only 3 shows left in this country that are real comic book conventions, and that's myself, Heroes Con, which is happening in 2 weeks down in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the Baltimore Comic Con, which is usually in September or October. Those are where we put comic book artists and writers first. That's the main thrust of the show. Heroes doesn't have any celebrities. They have no media guests whatsoever. Baltimore has 1 or 2, and I've got about 20 or 30 now, because I do realize over the years, not everybody knows who John Romita is or Kevin Eastman is. So
Mhm.
that's why you have to bring in Henry Winkler, Ralph Macchio,
Mhm.
Val Kilmer, God rest his soul,
Yeah.
and a bunch of people, because they know TV actors. They might know that Haley Atwell from Captain America and Mission Impossible movies, but they don't know who, like I said, Dan Jurgens is or something, because they don't read comic books. So I have to balance it out with something for everybody.
Yeah.
Voice actors from cartoon shows. We
Yep.
have the woman who's the voice of Minnie Mouse on all the Disney shows that the kids might watch. I remember a couple years ago we had a voice actress, a show called Ladybug. She was the person on that show. She had lines like a rock star, because I guess
Mhm.
all these kids watched this show called Ladybug, and she was like a huge hit. Or we'll get voice actors from video games We had this Nolan North, who was the guy on Uncharted.
Cool.
It's a big video game. He was there a couple times. And Red Dead Redemption.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy here in Connecticut that's the main guy.
That plays John.
We just played it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
on our
he
gaming
lives.
show.
He lives right over here.
Really?
Yeah, he's been to my show 3 times already.
We got to see him, Tony.
Yeah, I don't play the game though, but he was in Red
It's
Dead
such a good
Redemption
game.
2. He was the main guy.
Oh, so he's the So technically, he's the.
He's the
son.
guy in the box art. He's got a beard. His name
Yeah.
John James something.
John Marston. is
Marston.
the guy.
Marston.
Yeah,
Uh,
whatever that. Yeah.
His name is Robert.
Roger Clark.
Roger Clark is the guy?
Yes, yeah,
All
that's
so
the
not-
guy.
Not this guy.
Robert Allen Wythoff? No.
No, he's been at the show too. He was just at GamerCon. But no, Roger Clark is the fellow.
Oh, yeah, this is the guy I've been
Oh,
seeing
there he is.
videos of.
Yeah,
He's from New Jersey.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
he's with Jersey with an Irish accent when you talk to him. But,
Oh, really?
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. But no, who else we have this year as far as actors go? Oh, for goodness sakes, we have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle actors from the live action
Oh,
films,
wow.
the guys that were in the suits
Yeah.
and stuff. So they'll be there. And
definitely bringing our
the
tapes.
original Shredder,
Yeah. Oh,
James
wow.
Cool.
Saito.
Oh,
Saito,
cool.
I believe that's how you say it.
That's awesome.
And yeah, and then for older folks like me, I got Henry Thomas, who I know him as Elliot from E.T., but he's going on to do other movies. He was just playing Jack Nicholson's part in the sequel to The Shining. Was it Dr. Sleep or something?
I
He
don't know. I
played
haven't
the
seen it.
Nicholson role. Oh, all right. Well,
Oh, really?
Henry Thomas is a big deal. And then Billy Zane,
Yes.
who was
Oh,
the
yeah.
Titanic and
Yeah.
the Phantom.
We're bringing this.
We had
We
the
got the
Phantom,
Phantom
playing,
up there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bringing
yeah.
this,
Slam Evil, buddy.
He's going to get
Yeah.
this signed.
That's that. Oh, look, you got the lenticular one. Look
Yeah.
at you.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. That moves.
Yeah. it does.
But he'll be at the
Tony's
show.
a huge Billy Zane fan.
Are
we
you
got-
really?
Yeah. We got
Well,
He was in the Back to the Future pictures, which I didn't
That's
realize.
right. He was one of the
Biff's
goons
gangs.
of Biff. Yeah. He's great.
Mitch Pileggi, who was on X-Files. He was Skinner on X-Files, but he's been on a bunch of other shows like Stargate Atlantis and
Cool.
the Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, great show.
Another guy from New Haven, Titus Wheellever, who's on a show called Bosch now, but you see him go, oh, that guy. He's been in a zillion shows.
Show me him, Tony.
A show called Rugrats.
Yeah, of course.
The voice, she's from West Haven, Connecticut. She
I
was
can't
the.
believe that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's the guy.
That guy. That's
Titus.
the guy. When you see him, you
Yeah,
go,
yeah.
that guy.
Yeah.
I know that guy.
He's from New Haven.
Yep.
That's what it says anyway.
That's awesome.
And
We're
Nolan-
definitely bringing Rugrats to get signed.
Rugrats, she's from New Haven as
I
well.
can't believe
Melanie
that.
Chardoff. She was on a show called Fridays, which was like Saturday Night Live. But she was also on a show called Parker Lewis Can't Lose. I know a lot of you guys watched that type of stuff growing up. And then the New Haven connection never stops because I just mentioned a fellow that was Nolan North is from New Haven originally. So that's why a lot of these people get picked. My wife goes, nobody cares about that but you. I go, I do.
Yeah.
I want to get Paul Giamatti. You know why?
That'd be
Yeah.
great.
From New Haven.
That
A
would be
big Star Trek
awesome.
fan.
He was just in the new Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, I just watched that about
It was
going
good.
through the photo album.
Yes.
Yes, the eulogy
Oh
episode.
my
Wasn't that
God.
sad? I was
That
like, oh my
is.
God, I'm all verklempt watching
And
that
she,
stuff.
she wanted to be with him in the
Yeah,
end.
and they had the
he's-
letter, and he
Oh.
finally opened it up. Ugh, I'm crying.
I
I'm crying.
know,
Here, you
I
want a
know.
tissue? Go
Thank
ahead.
you, thank you.
Yeah. I can't. Paul Giamatti, you sexy little bastard. Giamatti.
Where can people find you, or not you specifically?
wanna
just
call-
get-
Call a cell phone.
No,
Yeah,
for Terrificon.
exactly. Just start tracking.
For Terrificon.
They can go to Terrificon.com. That's TERRIFICON.com.
How many times have you said that?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Just once.
Just today. I just made it up.
Yeah.
Terrificon.com. The
Social media.
social media. Well, it's Terrificon because somebody idiot had Terrificon because they spelled it differently. They spelled it Terrificon. Like that looks terrific on you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you see that?
Mhm.
Yeah. So I had to put it's Terrificon. So like it's a bird, it's a plane.
It's
It's
Terrificon.
That's
I
why
like
that's
that.
like that. Yeah.
That's
on
clever.
the we used to be Twitter, but now it's X. But
Yeah.
who knows what it'll be next week? Maybe out of business. Who knows? But
Yeah.
then there's the Instagram, which is Terrificon CT, because here we are. We're even on something called Blue Sky. I don't know if people are on that, but I'm on Blue Sky, which is another social media outlet. Facebook, it's just Terrificon.
Mhm.
You can find all that stuff. YouTube, we have
Yeah.
a YouTube channel where you get to see me go around Italy looking for comic
Yes.
books and other stuff there. But yeah, it should be easy to find, right?
Yeah.
You just tell people I want to go to the world's greatest comic convention. They
And
go,
that's it. They're like, oh, Terrificon.
Yeah. What are we
Yes.
talking about here? Want to go to where that guy doesn't trust anybody else to help him out. Does it all himself.
No,
Poor,
yeah.
Poor bastard.
Oh, well, do you guys have any questions?
Please.
I didn't ask.
Do I have any questions? I mean, I guess so. Yeah.
You can make it up.
No, yeah, I can kind of make it up right now. I think. I don't know. I mean, to me, it seems like you talked a lot about the adversities that you faced so far doing Terrificon. Yeah, the obstacles you have to overcome. Obviously, it's been successful.
I hope so.
And you make it sound pretty freaking easy, to be honest. But I guess my question would be like even the times where you had to move venues or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, did you ever have like what is your angst level at? Did you ever have doubts like
Dude.
this is over, like sort of deal? Or?
In the last couple, well, I thought it was over when COVID hit, when they shut us down and we couldn't do any more conventions in Connecticut for a long time. Like you could have more than 100 people in a room. Remember that? There was like you remember the grocery store with the arrows going this way, 6 feet apart. Literally, they shut the state down on a Tuesday. I had GamerCon coming up that Saturday. And I go, and I saw it coming across the country like a snowstorm. You were like hearing stories of Oregon, and then it was getting here. You're like, is that going to hit us? No. It was like watching a storm coming. It's like, I don't think it's going to hit us. And then sure enough, it did. But when that hit, we didn't do a show 2020. We came back in 2021 with Rooker because there was a window where it opened up and the levels were down and the cases were down. So they were like, oh, it's safe to reopen. And then we did. And then in the fall, there was another resurgence. And you're like, oh, this is that. So I really thought that was the end of it. I really thought there was no more conventions after 2020 because no one knew what was going to happen. But that was something. I had to deal with strikes, writers and actors strikes. That hit us like 2 years ago before you guys were there. There was a WGA, Writers Guild of America. And to show solidarity, the actors were not allowed or asked not to talk about any of the programs or movies they were in because that was like supporting the studios. So we had panels set up with the actors from Star Trek and The Walking Dead, and they couldn't talk about any of the shows they were on. So it was like, well, what's that about? You know what I mean? It's like you get Anthony Michael Hall there. You want to talk to him about 16 Candles, the vacation movies, everything he's done, and he can't say a word about it. And that was awkward. So.
What's your favorite pizza?
We pretty much did stuff like that because we were going to do game show trivia with the people because they were not allowed to talk about the roles that made them famous. But the worst one, actually, today's the anniversary of it, was when Adam West passed away 2 months before the show. And he was the headliner, and this was going to be his last appearance as Batman thing. And he said, I'm going to retire. This is it. I paid all the posters and said, see, Adam West, TV's Batman, in his last appearance ever. And he passed away 2 months before the show from pneumonia. And I had to take all the posters down, and I had guests. We had stuff made up, and shirts and all that stuff, so we had to throw it all out. So that was something. But we turned it into a memorial tribute. They had Burt Ward, who played Robin, Lee Merriweather, who played Catwoman, come on, and they ended up talking about what it was like to work with him. We did a musical number with a friend of mine, Bob DeSimone, who dresses up as, what's the singer? Bobby Darin. But he wore a tuxedo, but he also dresses up as Batman, as a Batman 66 cosplayer. So I made him come on and sing Ain't That a Kick in the Head? Like, ain't that a kick in the head? And we had a big screen behind where we showed Batman punching the Riddler, the Penguin, and the Joker and we had the bamboo pow stuff as he was dressed in a tuxedo with the bat cowl on, singing awesome. Bobby Darin. It was very surreal. And the best, I'm going to tell you now, because I actually put it up today, because I remember this was the coolest. It wasn't cool because of the circumstances, but Adam West had filmed a bunch of commercials on my iPhone. I went to meet him in March. He was at a show in Massachusetts, and he's like, hey, kids, this is Adam West, and I'll be at Terrificon this August. Hey. And he did a bunch of them. And he was so funny. He was like, okay. I said, do it again with your pants off. Okay. And he was undoing his pants. And who am I? Where am I going? And he's just a crazy guy. So I had these commercials all set to air on Channel 8. You can't put them on now. The guy's like, hey, I'll be. No, he's not. He's dead. So we did the tribute to him. We talked about him. We did a thing afterwards. We sang the song and all that. And at the end of the show, I was saying goodnight to everybody. We were going to show the Batman 66 movie where all the villains teamed up, the Riddler, the Joker, the Penguin, the Catwoman. They take over the world. So I said goodnight, everybody. And we had the red hot phone, the hotline from the Batman show under the cake dish like they used to have on the old show. So as I'm saying goodbye, the phone starts lighting up. And everybody always like, what's going on? So I said, just excuse me a moment. I picked up. I said, hi, we're doing a show. Who's this? oh, are you serious? Really? Oh, hold on. Everybody, excuse me, but we have an important long distance phone call. If we could, there's a video hook up to this. Can we turn the lights down? And so we turned the lights down, and we had the video of Adam West come up on the screen, and he's like, "Hi, everybody. This is Adam West, Batman. Your hero, and I'll be with you in this August at Mohegan Sun for Terrificon." And you could hear a pin drop in that place because it was like, oh my God. And the lights came back up. I said, well, he is a man of his word. He said he would be here no matter what. And people were crying their eyes out. And I walked off stage, and we had the light just fade to black, and it ended right on their little red phone, and then it just went to black, and everything went out like that.
Oh my!
And then the lights came up, and literally grown men in their 60s and 70s were sobbing in the corner, like, oh, I can't believe it. But that was one of the worst situations we ever had with the guest passing away. But we turned it around, and we made it a tribute to him, and everybody enjoyed it, and it was one of the more memorable Terrificons. And we had great guests like Kevin Conroy, who was, speaking of Batman, we had him twice. He was at the very first Terrificon, and he came with us 2 years ago. He was very sick, though, when he showed up, but he said he was from Connecticut. I don't know if people know that, but Kevin Conroy lived in Westport, Connecticut, and I had written to him, and I said, do you want to come to the show again? He said, yeah, I really want to come home one more time. And I didn't know what that meant.
Oh my God.
And then when he showed up, he was very, very ill at the time. And I was like, oh my goodness, are you okay? And he's like, well, got a bad break. I'm like, oh, all right. But he would come out, and this is, I tell you, I've seen these folks, they're actors. And a lot of people might dismiss that and go, oh, come on, what are they doing? They make believe, they read words off of a cue card. They're not, what's so special? They're good looking people. That's about it. No. This guy, this Kevin Conroy, as sick as he was, he would get out there, and he had a line, and he looked behind the curtain, and the line was all over. He goes, who's that for? I said, that's for you. He goes, oh, God. Because he was just so tired. He had cancer. And, all right. And he just rallied himself up. And hey, everybody, he'd pull that curtain back. And they'd all clap for him. And he'd sit there, and he'd start signing autographs, and people would be like, could you do it? He goes, hold on. And he'd stand up, and he did it years ago when he first got there. Years ago, he stood up on the table. He goes, I am vengeance. I am the night. I'm Batman. And the whole place was screaming. And here he is, not much longer to be with us on this earth. And he got up there, and he started, I'm vengeance. I am the night. I am the Batman. And oh my God. And he did it every time he came out there for 3 days. Those kids went nuts. And he'd go backstage, and we had a chair, like an easy chair set up for him. And he'd just take a break, and he'd take a little bit of a rest or a nap or whatever, because he was really, really tired. But he would, like a trooper, like you say, hey, you got to go hit a home run for us. Babe Ruth got out to the plate, point the finger, hit the ball right there. That guy was, when I saw that, I was like, this is what the power these people have, these actors and stuff. Like I said, you met the Green Ranger when you were a kid. I met Mark Hamill years ago when my son was with me, and it was like, that's Luke Skywalker. There's just something about these people that just make you remember or your excitement when you watch Batman or whatever. That's real to you.
Yes.
That's not fake. And to see this guy do that, knowing that he was sick, unbelievable. The power these people have. I've seen Dean Cain do it. I saw a young girl crying her eyes out once at a photo op. And I was like, what's that all about? And she was literally shaking, And he's like, oh, come on over. He starts talking to her and calm her down. And she was literally hyperventilating. And I was like, what is this? Are you okay? He's like, why? It's just this guy. And then he talked to her quietly, calmed her down, autographed, photo. She was sweet as could be, walked away. And I said, how do you work with that? What is that all about? He says, you got to understand. You don't know what's going on in these people's houses. You don't know, the father might be divorced of the mom, or there's, nobody home. Somebody's sick. Somebody's got drug problems or alcohol problems. You don't know what's going on in someone's house behind those doors.
Yeah.
But for an hour that they could escape with a TV show, and they sit there and they don't worry about what's going on the other side of the door. They don't worry about somebody yelling at them. And they watch Superman, and they watch Lois and Lane and all that stuff. And it takes them away from their troubles. That's powerful. And you're in their house. It's like you're their best friend. You're in their room trying to calm them down. So when they meet you, all those emotions, all that stuff that was happening, all that backstory that just floods them, and they just can't control themselves sometimes. And it's nice to see that he does accept there's a responsibility of an actor to the fan base that you have to give back, because he got his success from those people watching him. So this is his opportunity to just, even though for a minute or two, just to meet with him, say thank you, you know, and just tell them everything's going to be okay. And I've seen people in wheelchairs, and they're just like, I saw Christopher Reeve years ago in Southern Connecticut. He did a speaking engagement, and he was in his wheelchair at the time from his accident. And they put all the folks, the young kids and stuff that were similar situations to him in the front row. And he sat there, and he's all the troubles that poor fella had. And he said, let me just tell you, always get up every day. Keep believing that maybe someday, even though they tell you you're not going to walk or you're not going to move your arm or anything, just as long as you still believe something, that there's hope that you could do that. That'll make you stronger than anybody in the world. So never give that up. Oh my God. It's like you could feel the energy in the room from all the positivity this guy was projecting, knowing his situation, but he still was, positive outlook on life. And when I remember telling you, don't ever let anybody tell you you're not going to be able to do something. If you believe it, you'll be able to do it somehow, somewhere it'll come through. Holy crap. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's Superman right there. And it's like, I got chills just telling you the story, but it's like, that's the thrill, the power behind the Terrificon, behind any other Comic-Con, whatever you want to go to. That's the reward. That's what I'm glad I can help somehow on some level give that back to the people that come to the show. They get to meet these people. They get to meet the cartoon voice. They get to meet the actor, whatever it is, the artist, the writer. That magic, that connection between a fan and a creator, if they could just, have it again for a couple seconds, it's worth whatever they paid to get in. And I'm glad that they get it, because I do get that back. I do get people write me letters like, thank you so much. And I joke about you guys being cynical and unjaded and all that stuff, but I see it. I mean, I've got people, letters, Vietnam vet guys, the PTSD guys that got to meet so-and-so and hug them and thank them. And that, they had some dark days in their life that they didn't think they were going to make it out of it. But because they watched a Kevin Smith movie, made them laugh, and that cheered them up, and that, made them stay with us instead of taking the alternative, But it's a great job. I mean, at the end of the day, we joke about all this stuff, but I have one of the greatest jobs in the world doing Terrificon. And I hope to do it forever until, no one shows up anymore. But no, it's just something to see. When it's all done, I'm exhausted after 3 days. Once I get everybody back on their planes and their cars, and they're all the hell out of there, and they clean up the place, and it's like we were never there. I do walk away and go, wow, check that one off. We did 20, 30,000 people are happy they got to see so-and-so this weekend. So, so there you go. That's the secret. You could take all this stuff and just sum it up into like 10 minutes and say, that's the whole magic of this job,
No, it was amazing. Renee, anything? No, Renee's happy.
She's happy?
She's happy.
If Renee's happy, I'm happy.
Exactly.
I don't care about Tony.
No.
You and I, we got this connection.
Yes.
We're hating people. I don't know.
Exactly. Well, I had a great time.
Ugats to the world.
Yeah.
My Italian, I learned that.
I had a great time, Mitch. Thanks for
thank you
coming
so
in.
much for
Appreciate it.
having me here. And
we're excited for Terrificon.
Pumped
Yeah.
for Terrificon.
That'll get me
Hyped
up
up.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hyped up. That makes it all worthwhile when I'm sitting there spending a fortune on someone's first class airline ticket.
Renee and Tony are pumped up.
I will be taking donations when you see the bill for the green room. You're like, oh my God, how much do they charge you for that coffee? It's like, oh God. I want green M&Ms. Oh no, not the green M&Ms. I'm in the back room pulling them out. Okay. I get some strange writers now and then.
Oh yeah, that want stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. One
That's
of
like Renee.
One of them said, "Oh, I want 2 pounds of cashew nuts, 2 cheeseburgers, and 2 glasses of whole milk." And when and when he got off the whatever his panel, they were there, and he goes, "What's this?" I said, "Well, it's in your contract. You get 2 pounds of cashews." He goes, "I do." I said, "Well, you asked for it. You don't want it." He goes, "Oh, well, I'll tell you a secret." I go, "What?" He goes, "We put that in there to see if you read the contract. and he told the wrong person that. And I was like, what'd you say? And he's like, well, we did. I said, yeah, of course I read the contract. Why wouldn't I read the contract? That's what a professional does. You don't want this stuff? No. Well, let me tell you something. And the fingers are coming out. It's like the Paulie walnuts. It's like,
You're eating.
You're eating this shit. He's like, I don't want it. I have a nut allergy. I go, you're going to eat these freaking cashews. Come here. Come on. Get the milk. Yeah. And he was like, and he got scared. He's like, and I go, I ain't joking. He was like, he's just looking at me. He's like, seriously, bro? I go, you see anybody else here joking? No, that's your shit. You're eating it. He did. He's like, what if I take it back to, oh, no, you're going to eat it. So I sat there and I was making him eat the cheeseburgers and drink the milk. And I was like,
Just watching it.
don't forget, there's a little bit of milk left in that. Drink it up. Come on.
It's
like
out
my,
of his contract now.
yeah, it's like my
guarantee it.
grandfather. It's like, hey, don't leave any food on the plate.
Yeah,
2 pounds of cashews. I think you only eat about 14 ounces. There's some more left. Come on, open up. Come on, big boy. Let's go. And there's like,
Oh my God.
He's like crying. I don't want any more cashews. But that's one part of the job. That, I'll tell you who it is later.
Yeah. No, but I guarantee it's not his contract anymore after that.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
If it is, he's just a sadist.
Well, guys,
masochist.
go to Terrificon August 8th through the 10th.
That's right.
You're definitely going to have a good time. Stay the whole weekend. Don't leave.
Yeah, don't. Just sleep in your car.
If you have to. If you can't find a hotel, because I'm sure they're all booked.
You
that
can all go to
weekend.
Tony's room.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Roll
my
out
room.
bed. Some
Mhm.
slumber.
No, there's just one bed, small bed, twin sized.
Oh,
Everyone can cram in.
don't go to
He's talking about the
Renee's.
hotel.
Don't
Yeah.
Don't
Is
go
it
to
just
her
one?
room.
No one's invited into my
No, Renee
Exactly.
gets her own room.
No, you don't want
I
that.
She gets her
Burn
own
you.
room.
She does.
Yes.
As one should.
Yeah, she's the
Is
girl.
it the suite? Because I have presidential suites.
Wow.
We haven't
Now it's going to have to be. You brought it
Yeah,
up.
now
Well-
Renee's like, Mike, did you get me the presidential?
Well, I'm sorry. Renee, were you in the latest Tom Cruise movie?
Yeah, it was in the background.
Oh, okay. Then that's different than I was going to say. Did you marry Steve Rogers?
Yeah, he's my first husband.
Oh, okay. I guess
She's got 4.
Hey, I guess she's got it there. Yeah, Haley Atwell's going to be sharing a room with Tony.
Tony, that's the worst thing for Tony.
Yeah.
Imagine if you match up the rooms with like us.
Mix them up. Yeah,
They're
that'd
just
be
like,
funny.
who are you?
Who are you?
Oh, Mitch didn't tell you?
Yeah, there's a fold-out couch for you,
Yeah.
Haley. What?
Yeah, no, just for the first night.
Yeah. Oh, of course, for the first night. And that's it.
Yeah, well, with Tony, smooth talker.
Oh,
Mm.
yeah.
That's what they say.
He's the Lando Calrissian of YouTube. Works every time. He's always laughing. Hey, Colt 45. That's Billy D. Williams. You don't know that, do you?
No.
Lando
Jesus
Calrissian. Yeah, he
God.
doesn't.
He does.
yeah.
He does.
God, how
okay.
old are you?
Yeah, how old are
I
you?
really think my socks are older than you.
Mm.
No,
Yes. No, seriously.
But thanks again, Mitch. Time for a photo. I know Renee wants to definitely take a photo of all of us.
okay.
Yeah, if
We
you
have
want
to.
to. I mean, you don't want
No,
a photo
he has
taken.
no
You can Photoshop me. I'll just get a Jay Leno picture and slap
Yeah.
it up. No one will know.
I'm telling my mom we had Jay Leno in today.
Yeah,
She'll
yeah.
believe it.
Yeah,
She'll
she
believe
will.
it.
She's gonna believe it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How'd you do
cars.
that?
Yeah. Can
Yeah.
you go to his garage?
Yeah,
I thought he
dude,
had a
you-
house in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Everybody lives in Connecticut. If there's somebody. All right, that's it. Roll it up. Rack it up.
I had a great
Yeah.
time.
Lock it up.
This is
Good night.
honestly
Good night,
maybe,
everybody.
You know.
Oh
I
my
don't know if
God. You got like what, 10 minutes out of that?